Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined by my co-hosts, John, Luke, and Coop. What's up, boys?
Let's go. Good morning.
How's the internet over there today, JL?
Fan-freaking-tastic. Glad
Nice.
it showed up today.
Yeah.
He saved it all up from yesterday. You know, he only had enough internet left to, he had to stretch it through the week. So he saved it all up yesterday, and he's cashing it all in today. I see Meat Mansion in the chat in here with the Meat Mansion smash. Smash that fun button for Meat Mansion on this Friday morning. And I see Craig in here this morning. He says, chat, I'm really nervous. Are they going to lead off with the big news first from last night? Xander Horvath's breakout continues. Oh my God.
The big news that we were all waiting for.
We were all waiting
We were going to wait, but you kind of broke it in the chat already, dude. You busted
jerk.
it out. So, yeah.
Just whipped it out right in front of us.
Yeah, Austin Eckler bringing water out and towels to Xander Horvath all evening.
No, yeah. Xander Horvath, that was that first touchdown. I was like, no, not again, right? Like, is this just going to be a weekly thing where we see him out there stealing a touchdown one a week? Is he going to end with enough fantasy points that's literally 30 yards and 17 touchdowns because he just gets
100%.
one every single week? What was his
week
final line?
1 yard, one receiving yard, one touchdown, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Next week, that one kid in your league, his lineup is going to be like Xander Horvath, Taysom Hill, OJ Howard, right? And he's gonna,
Evan Duvernay.
And he's going to kick your ass because they're all going to score touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
You're going to lose to that kid. The kid's going to crush you, bro.
I know we're all laughing, but that's one of the most infuriating things in fantasy. When you look at that roster and you're like, yeah, no way. He's just chasing the points. He's just chasing the points, and then it works. And you're just sitting on the other end God, with my Mike Williams and my Mike Evans and my T. Higgins and what happened? What went wrong here?
Like an idiot. Some kind of Devonta Smith, some sort of idiot, dude. Dude's out there getting all tired playing 98% of the snaps when you really only have to go out there and play 2 and score a touchdown, dummy.
I see Tommy in the sorry, go ahead.
I feel like Meat Mansion in the chat totally jinxed me. He said, looking real smooth, JL. And then neither of you noticed, but I just spilled coffee straight down my sweatshirt. Trying to drink it.
The classic Meat Mansion curse, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got
Shut
Brett
up,
Bolt. Good day, fellas. Good day, mate.
Good day. Good day, Brett. Is that offensive? That's offensive.
I was going to say one day he's going to just snap at us and be like, stop with the Australia stuff.
I feel like when he drops a good day, we can pop in and be like, rise of lights. You know what I mean? We're allowed to say 2. We're allowed to say
It's a completely inappropriate response to that greeting.
Yeah. Well, Brad, let us know if that's
Lights.
offensive. He's like, Brad's like, only me and my koalas.
Me and mine.
That. Yeah.
You're gonna just piss Brad off. Anthony in here. Good morning, Anthony. Coop, if you want to piss off someone else, do you have anything offensive to say about vegans real quick while Anthony's in the chat?
Actually, I don't. JL, you got anything?
Morning. No, I love vegans.
We love vegans here, but
They're my brothers and sisters.
JL, do a vegan accent.
Hey.
Wow.
I'm vegan.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
We kind of buried the lead a little bit. We got a little distracted, but that game last night was a fun game to watch. Through the first half of this game, I was like, okay, this is going to be a trick, right? We're not going to get this high-scoring game that we thought we were going to. But by the end, it turned out to be a fairly exciting game. And Coop, you and I were talking right before this, but at the end of the game, Justin Herbert's injured, right? He can hardly run 2 yards to make that throw, or he can hardly run the 2 yards. He doesn't do it. And then very next play, I'm thinking, God, this dude's done. This dude's done. He comes out and just throws an absolute laser to DeAndre Carter. But I think last night it was just so much fun to watch Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, even with some of the struggles that they had. These dudes are so good, aren't they? We're going to be watching these two guys in the NFL for such a long time, just tear it up.
On that play where he came up short because he was hurt, he pulled a JL, dude. He had to save up. He had to save up everything he had. So he took one day off. He took one play off so that the next play he could bring the double effort, bring the double internet like JL today.
The heat.
bring that little extra heat, a little extra coffee on the shirt this morning.
A
Getting
little
fired
extra
up.
coffee on the sweatshirt.
JL's shirt's wide awake now, baby. Let's go.
The whole game, I swear, Justin Herbert was trying to get the ball stuck in someone's face mask. Like the way he was chucking that ball at those receivers, I was like, I would not want to be on the other end of that.
Oh,
ball.
that'd be so cool if that happened.
Gerald Everett was literally like, I'm all set. He's like, that's too hard. He's like, you catch that. And the Chiefs dude was like, yeah, I'll take this one, Gerald. Like, what was with that? Gerald was like, he's like, I need to leave the game. He's like, I'm done. And they were like, no, you're not. Get in there. And then they throw it right to him again. Like,
crazy.
Whose idea? That's like that. We talked about that the other day when Andrew Beck ran that dude over. I was like, yeah, just go and throw it right at that guy, right? Like the Chargers did that to themselves. Gerald Everett literally held his hand up and said, "Don't throw it to me." And then they were the very next play, they throw a pick six.
They're like, gotcha.
He's asleep. Yeah. And they're like, what are you doing, Gerald?
Maybe they thought maybe there was a Chiefs player nearby. And whenever he said that, they thought he was like doing the good old switcheroo, the reverse psychology. Like, hey, I'm very tired. Do not throw it to me. And wink. So they read into it wrong. And so they're like, oh, we got to throw it to him. He's going to be wide open. And the Chiefs definitely believe that he's too
tired. Give us
tired.
the wink.
That was classic move, dude. That's a little conspiracy theory, right?
That's the hardcore analysis you come here for.
He took it a little too far, Gerald did, though. He kind of took it all the way into the play itself until the Chiefs had scored a touchdown. And then
he didn't quite get it.
He really sold it. He wanted to make sure they bought into it. Last night, can you imagine going into that game last night and you look down on your bench and Mike Williams is sitting there? Like, can you imagine being the guy who said, week one, Mike Williams put up a goose egg, something he's never done before. We've never seen a disappointing Mike Williams week. And then to have him on your bench as he just looked like a monster out there on the field. Like he looked like the Mike Williams that we've been promising all offseason, right? Just climbing the ladder, getting up for these balls, laying out to catch anything. One-handed catches over defenders.
He was mad, bro.
God, he was proving a point out there.
He was 100% proving a point last night, and point taken. Didn't have to prove it to me, Mike.
Good thing we quintuple guessed that Mike Evans versus Mike Williams start sit yesterday and landed on Mike Williams in the end, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Josh Palmer, dude, like on the other hand, looked pretty pedestrian. I don't think I've ever seen somebody go in motion so many times and then just completely stand off to the side. Like I feel like Herbert was looking at him a couple times and he's like, "You gonna do something, dude?"
Nah,
I'm got. I already went in motion. I went in motion, bro.
Every time,
I'm done here.
Every time a ball would go like a little above him or a little behind him and he wouldn't catch it, my only thought would be, Mike Williams would have caught that. Yo, Mike would have caught that. like Mike would have done anything to catch that ball. Josh, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, though Justin Herbert was throwing like a 6-yard pass, throwing it like 175 miles an hour at his backhand.
Absolutely no chill.
And then staring daggers at him. He's like, "What are you doing, dude?
Why did you catch that?
I got it to you so fast, you idiot."
Yeah.
Anthony said next week with Keenan Allen back, Mike Williams will go 2 for 15. Coop, are you expecting a drop down when we get Keenan Allen back for Mike Williams?
No, the drop down's definitely coming for Gerald Everett. Like, there's no way Gerald Everett gets 10 targets again when Keenan Allen's back. I think Mike Williams is going to be fine. It's usually the third guy that has trouble. Most teams can support 2 guys in the pass game.
Yeah, and Mike Williams is that second guy with Keenan Allen. It's not Gerald Everett over Mike Williams. We had a question from Tommy in here. He said, despite the outcome, which team looked better? Gerald, so the Chiefs won this game, but which team do you think looked better out there on the football field, on the old gridiron?
On the old turf and gridiron. For me, it was the Chargers. The Chargers looked better than the Chiefs to me. It looked like they had that game. They were more control in the game for really the majority of it. It seems like the Chiefs were keeping up. I think these two teams honestly are pretty evenly paired. But I just felt like the Chargers felt more in control throughout the game.
I'm with you. That Chargers defense was
that's
for
so
real.
Good.
They are for real this year. Bosa and Mac are going to be a problem all season for teams they're playing.
JC Jackson.
Why is Derwin James so mean, dude? Like, why do you powerbomb Travis Kelce, dude? What was that, right?
That was insane.
That was crazy. He went Captain Insano on him, dude.
Just picked him up. That dude is
I kept
huge.
waiting for the flag, and I was like, I don't know what rule he broke, but he had to.
But
break
that's
some
that's
rule,
a
right?
broken rule. Yeah,
that's a broken rule.
That's where the ref just throws a flag, and he's like, giving him the business. Yeah, what was that called that one time? He's giving him the business.
15 yards.
The only tackle I've seen that was like on that level. Jail, who was it? There was a Clemson player that literally suplexed a guy during.
It was Ben Boulware.
Ben Boulware grabs the guy and just suplexes him in the middle of a game.
The refs were like, yeah, that you can't do that.
Exactly.
I don't know why, but you can't do that.
That's what I was waiting for last night with Derwin James. I was like, that's a wrestling move. And I'm pretty sure somewhere in the NFL rule book, it says wrestling moves not allowed. Like I think that's just in there somewhere.
Yeah. So Craig Ruth in the chat, can we have a new rule? Anytime someone is asked a question with the word gridiron in it, the person answering has to do a John Madden impression while answering. Kind of like that rule. And also, Craig, want to ask you, Derwin James, is he because Craig and Jordan Loop are our IDP guys. Is Derwin James the number one safety in general and also in IDP? Because, I mean, to me, he looked like an absolute monster out there.
And
is there a better safety than him in IDP, Craig?
And does him headlining WrestleMania affect his dynasty ranking in IDP, Craig?
Got to move him up, right?
Yeah, or maybe his availability is going to move him down, higher injury risk as well. And Craig said he is my number one safety easily when healthy. So kind of answered both of our questions there. WrestleMania could cause some additional injury, so there's some concerns, but he's number one when healthy.
I had a great bet that applies to that. Is my buddy loved Derwin James in the draft, and he was like, "This guy's going to be so good." We were both obviously having a couple pops, and I'm like, "Dude, rookies. They're not, they don't end up being that good. Like it's always other safeties that make the All-Pro team." And he's like, I bet you he makes the All-Pro team in one of the first 2 years. Loser shotguns a straw burrito. And I was like, all right, dude. Yeah, for sure. Like, that's not going to happen. Then he comes out. He's immediately unbelievable. And then he gets hurt. So I'm like, all right, we got bailed out the first season. Second season comes out. Unbelievable. Gets hurt again. And I'm just like, oh, man, looks like you got a shotgun a straw burrito. He's like, he's the best safety in the league. I was like, yeah, he is. I'm like, go get it. Go get a knife. Yeah,
just a margarita.
Strawberries go harder than they should. Like those go a little bit harder. Those things hit you a little bit harder than they should for how sweet they are.
Because they're gasoline, dude. They're like 8% alcohol, right? And they sell them like the 24 packs, dude. Like this is what my face looks like when I drink a strawberry.
Just turns your face bright red. What if it's a limerita? Do you go a shade of green or is it same color? You turn into like, oh!
I got all sorts of fancy
Noir coupe.
That makes for good radio. If anyone,
coupe noir.
You can't see this. The coupe is just slowly changing colors from green to red to blue. We have a question in here from Schneid's. Wants to know, would you start Drake London over CeeDee Lamb in week 2? With Dak being out, are you jumping that far down the wide receiver list with CeeDee Lamb Coop, or are you still plugging in CeeDee Lamb over a guy like Drake London?
Let's see. Well, it's 7:13 in the morning, and that's a very difficult question. I think I would still start CeeDee Lamb. I looked at the sample size we have for Cooper Rush yesterday, and the guy he targeted the most was Amari Cooper, who's gone. Guy he targeted the second was CeeDee Lamb, and then it was Dalton Schultz, kind of how you'd expect. So I think I'm willing to go there. And the spread's not as crazy on that game as you would think. Like there's, the Cowboys with Cooper Rush are still apparently better than a lot of other teams in the league because, they're not even that big of underdogs versus the Bengals, whereas some other teams are like 10-point dogs. So I think I'm still willing to go CeeDee Lamb over the rookie. I don't know, JLE, where are you at with that?
I'm still going CeeDee Lamb. What we saw from Drake London last week was encouraging, but where you drafted CeeDee Lamb, what you drafted him for, and just the type of player he is, you're not sitting him. You can't sit him this week. At least that's how I feel. I guess you could sit him. I'm not sitting him. Drake London, is someone I would want to work into my lineup this week. His matchup is pretty good, but I just can't start him over CeeDee Lamb.
How much better is Marcus Mariota than Cooper Rush? Right, like probably better. Probably better.
Probably better. Yeah.
Yeah, but how much better? I don't even know. I'm fairly confident at this very moment CeeDee Lamb is better than Drake London, though. So that's the way I'm rolling with it.
Unless you went heavy wide receiver early, like you've got Mike Williams, Cortland Sutton, and Marquise Brown as well. Like 3 of these guys that I think are in that tier that maybe I would start over CeeDee Lamb with Cooper Rush. I'm throwing CeeDee Lamb out there. Like Drake London's a couple tiers down for me. CeeDee Lamb's that dude. He's the guy you drafted. He still was heavily targeted. He's probably going to be the main target. I'm not going to say who the hell else would they throw the ball to because they were spreading it around, but they're going to find quickly it's probably the best results when they throw to CeeDee Lamb with the other receiving options they have on that team. Not looking good for the other receiving options over there, though. Also, I see Get in the Game Tommy in the chat saying, Simon, despite your charming personality, I literally cannot look at you in that hat. Gives me morning sickness. Let's ride, baby. He's I'll turn it around for you, Tommy. Don't worry. Is this any better? Like this?
Wow, that's
Big
aggressive, bro.
That's better.
Big Broncos.
That's an aggressive hat, dude.
That design is just not fantastic, but I love it.
Craig in here says if CeeDee Lamb keeps pooping the bed, we may have to start calling him Laserdisc Goat.
Laserdisc Goat.
Nice one, Craig. Absolutely nice one.
Very good. Craig.
Too early for that, Craig.
Too early for that, Craig. I think JL answered a little bit earlier, but I wanted to hear your opinion on who you thought the better team on the field was last night. Do you think it is the Chargers or do you think it's the Chiefs?
That's tough. They both played well, but I think I agree that the Chargers defense just has more stars, right? Like their offense obviously has stars, but their defense also has stars. Whereas I feel that the Chiefs are more just like Patrick Mahomes dragging that team around, like dragging that team to victories. Which I mean, sometimes that's all you need. You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers has been that dude, right? So but
probably like the quintessential example of that.
Yeah, like Tom Brady throwing the ball like David Patton and like we've seen
Scotty Miller.
Right, we've seen a quarterback, make all the difference. But I think the Chargers are a more complete team. I'd like to see Austin Eckler get going on the ground. The thing is, people complaining about Austin Eckler, and I shouldn't really talk because I actually just tweeted, why doesn't Austin Eckler have 20 touchdowns yet? But it's
a little crazy that he hasn't hit that mark yet.
I don't know. But I mean, like you drafted Austin Eckler in PPR formats specifically, and he caught 9 balls on 10 targets. So I'm not sure exactly what you want besides that. Like that's why you drafted him. He just did exactly that. He's never had 1,000 yards rushing. So if you drafted him to have 1,000 yards rushing, then you were predicting something he's never done. So I think you should be happy with what you got and also shut up.
Duh.
It says stop complaining. This is what you asked for. You just
That's
got
right.
exactly what you asked for on your Christmas list. So stop being a whiny baby. We're going to talk some more Chiefs, then go over the news that hit last night. And we're going to be playing some hypothetically coming up as well. Alex Gold from Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio is joining us a little bit later today. And we're going to go over this Sunday's matchups. And then Gino Bisconti, host from Compound Media, is coming on to talk Chargers later as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
We got to get a team in Honolulu. Like, what about that, Ray? You think Oakland? Like, nobody's talking about Honolulu for the Oakland A's to move to. How badass would that be to have a Major League Baseball team? Instead, they want to go to like where it's 120 degrees in the desert of Vegas.
Right.
Ray, they should pick up and go to Honolulu. That would be epic right there.
They could go to Honolulu, and instead of playing 12 games against a team throughout the course of the year, you just play a 12-game stack. Just get it done.
What's the flight from the Bay Area? 4 hours?
It's depending which direction you're going, it's 5.5.
Okay, that's not terrible. You'd have to manage the schedule a bit,
right?
but it's doable. Like, you play your West Coast games, and then maybe you give an extra day. Like, you play in San Francisco through Sunday, and then you have your Monday off. Everybody gets their Monday off, and then they play, out in Hawaii for 4 games, and they come back for the weekend.
It's very similar time-wise for us in California, in the Bay Area, to go to Hawaii as it is to go to New York. It's very similar. So, yeah, like you're saying, Giants do that to go to the Mets. The A's do that to go to the Yankees. They do it, so it would be very similar.
They would be they've already got the baseball background. I mean, they're dominant. The island loves their baseball. And Ray, you could even rebrand the team from the Oakland A's to the Oakland Lays. You can do the Lays, Ray. Look at that.
Good. That's actually, there's no way that would ever happen, but that's pretty good, Kyle. On the fly.
I'm giving away like free marketing right here.
Good work.
Right on the show.
The plan is for them to stay here, but the fans hate them. I don't know if the city likes them. They can't. I mean, it's embarrassing. I don't know. The plan
There's
is
a lot of land in Hawaii. Just think about the views, Ray, of the Pacific. It would put your crap ballpark in San Francisco to shame. Like, everybody thinks that's a good view.
Right.
They'd have like waterfalls and real palm trees and the Pacific Ocean.
People
like,
trolling fire in the 7th inning
They would
stretch.
make the Giants Park look like, the vet in Philly. It would look that awful if they moved to Hawaii.
And then you go to your flip-flop. Mai tais, they give lays away, the first 5,000 fans, whatever.
Well, everybody in the chat room loves it. Every time I get a compliment, I don't bring it up on the show.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't want to be that guy.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Schneid's in the chat was thanking us for the advice over there. That's what we're here for. If you've got more questions, throw them in there. We'll be hitting some of your questions throughout the show today. And if you guys want to call in and talk with us about the game last night, talk with us about the games coming up, hit that call in button in the Better Sports Network app. You just got to download the app, register, and then it's one button to call in and come up on air and talk with us today. We want to hear your thoughts on that game last night. We want to hear you just come up and praise Mike Williams for about 45 seconds. Like, we'll give you a 45-second monologue. Just come up with like adjectives to describe Mike Williams over and over. Or if you want to give us your 15-minute poop speech, we'll give you the stage for 15 minutes. We can derail everything to hear somebody's 15-minute poop speech if you call in.
I think that's fair. Full poop speech. You are also allowed to praise Xander Horvath, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Mike Williams, Horvath, poop speech. Any one of those,
Horvath.
Absolutely allowed. So give us a call. We'll throw you on the air.
Give us a call. We'll throw you on the air. Yeah, absolutely. No questions asked. You can just jump on up there. Keith doesn't even care what you say. You can just get on up there.
Stop paying attention.
Last night, Chargers quarterback took a big hit. Oh, should I say his name? Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert.
Yes.
Justin Herbert took a big hit to the midsection in the second half in Thursday's loss to the Chiefs. He only missed one play. He came out. Chase Daniel came in for one play and kept on going, but he was in pain. Like, it was apparent that dude was hurt. There were a couple throws where he just locked onto his receiver after that. Somewhere he couldn't even make the play. He just kind of ended the play because you could tell he pulled up in pain. Coop, are you worried about Herbert long-term? Are you worried about this injury?
Yeah, absolutely. And because those are the injuries that can linger, whether it's a broken rib or whether it's the dislocated soft tissue of the collarbone there. In the rib cage. I've actually done both. And I'm not going to lie, separating the cartilage the time that I did that was actually worse than breaking the rib. With the broken rib, it's just what it is. It heals as it heals. With the cartilage, it's like you don't even know what's going on. Every time you sneeze, it's like agony, right? Those type of injuries can last for a while, and it's going to hurt his mobility almost certainly. Like, you saw it yesterday. He could have run for a first down on a 3rd and 1, and he just said, not worth it, right? If you have him in fantasy, he's probably still going to be the starter, play through it. He played through it last night, and he's going to be throwing. Seemed to throw fine, but maybe you can't really count on the 300, 400 rushing yards you had planned on if he's going to be dealing with this for a while.
Yeah, and when you do have that like soft tissue injury in your ribs, I've done the same thing, Coop. The recovery plan is basically just okay, recover. Like just wait. Yeah, just wait, and then it'll feel better. But it's going to take a couple months, and it's going to hurt the entire time. Man, it's rough. I see Tommy down there saying, I bet he is out against Jacksonville next week. JL, do you think he might miss some time, especially with Jacksonville coming up on the schedule?
Yeah, I think it's likely. Brandon Staley came out after the game, said that he's fine. He thinks that it's that the lingering issue is unlikely. I don't know if I fully buy into that. I think it's likely that he'll have to deal with this for a little while, but keep an eye on that injury report later on this week. It'll come out and it'll hopefully give us some more information on what he's dealing with.
My question for you guys is, how many Chase Daniel NFT DraftKings Rainmaker cards you guys buy? You've already bought them all. Okay.
I already bought them all, yeah.
Okay, I was just checking and it actually said that a guy named 15-minute poop speech just bought them all. So
yep, that was me.
That's your account? Okay. Well,
I did
smart.
a 3-hour poop speech yesterday morning.
3, yeah. I was wondering why you weren't on the show. Although you did pop in briefly. Was that part of the speech?
That was a brief intermission. I went 15 minutes after the show.
I was gonna say, you wrote it well in advance and one poll perception. It's just like you had planned it.
I had planned that in there. Yeah, I knew I was gonna have to hop in there.
Pretty smart speech.
Thank you.
I see Fantasy Dog in here this morning. Morning, gentlemen. Morning, Fantasy Dog.
Morning.
Welcome in. Woo, woo, woo. Get that bark.
Woo.
Dude, yesterday on our office hours stream on our YouTube channel, we had Dave Kluge on, right? So he came on as the guest and we were answering questions. And about 40 minutes into it, someone in the chat comes in and goes, oh my God, it's the famous Dave Kluge. Start barking is what he just said in the chat. And I pitched it to Dave, and Dave, no questions asked, immediately starts barking. And I was like, I knew I like this guy. Like Dave is the man. He didn't hesitate. Yeah. He just started barking on camera because this random guy, like I asked him first, like, would you start Juju Smith-Schuster, Allen Robinson? Allen Robinson. Start barking. Ooh, just immediately, like next question. And then he was like, okay, and next question, keep it running. Albert in here wants to know, if Pittman is out, would you start Metcalf or Bateman? So I got a lot of Bateman questions yesterday during office hours as well. And I think maybe I'm higher on Bateman than what the consensus is, but most of them have been slam dunk Bateman answers for me. And this one is also a slam dunk Bateman answer. I'm starting Rashad Bateman here. Coop, what about you?
I'm completely in agreement with you on that. I have Bateman kind of in the back end. Like to me, he's like the mid to back end wide receiver 2 range, whereas I actually have Metcalf in the like high end wide receiver 3 range right now, just because not so much his fault, but just because there's enough guys that kind of emerged. Like it's hard for me to not start Amon-Ra St. Brown in full PPR or Gabe Davis in half PPR or like Michael Thomas right now. Like Jarvis, you mean like it's tough. It's tough company, you know. Especially when your quarterback's Geno Smith. As cool as Geno was, he still didn't really rack up the stats. You know what I mean? JL not liking I see you not liking the Geno partial slander there. I said he was
the
cool.
Geno partial slander.
I mean, he was cool. He completed 10 passes in a row, said a really awesome quote after the game, but he also threw for like 200 yards.
I ain't write them back.
Yeah, I ain't write them back. I was like, damn, that's awesome, dude. Like I did move Geno up in my rankings slightly because after he said that, not after the game, but after he said that. But then I went back and looked at the stats and I was like, maybe he played fine.
Tommy says we are talking DK Metcalf, right? DK Metcalf. I would assume so.
Metcalf.
JL, you starting Metcalf or Bateman?
I'm starting Bateman in this game, but it is not slam dunk for me. These guys are close. The difference is, I mean, Coop is right about Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. While I was generally far more impressed than what I was expecting with that Seattle Seahawks offense, they're going against San Francisco this week. It's going to be a little bit tougher of a matchup. Actually, that's probably a slightly easier matchup than Denver, but still a tougher matchup. I'm going to go Bateman.
Also, I saw Albert in here right before that said, went up against Mahomes and Kelsey last night. You know, could have been worse, Albert. When you're going up against Mahomes and Kelsey, could have been a hell of a lot worse. Well, like 10 PPR fantasy points for Kelsey. Mahomes had an all right game. I think it was something like 17 points and a 4-point per passing touchdown.
No 5 touchdown game.
It was no 5 touchdown game. It was just it was all right. And that's a win if you're going up against a Mahomes Kelsey stack if they do what they did last night.
A buddy of mine, Anand Nanduri, he does a little work he works for Roto Underworld and Player Profiler, does a little work for Sportsbook. He said that 98% of the bets were coming in on the over for the Travis Kelce prop. Of course, it hit the under. Vegas, they're too good, but like you can't get 98% of people to agree on anything, right? Like in this world, it's just like ridiculous that on this one thing, once everybody's agreeing on that, that's when you know, okay, Vegas,
something's wrong. Yeah,
Vegas is about to pull the rug on us here.
Yeah.
If it seems that obvious, there's probably something else going on that we're not taking into account. It's like they do it for their job or something, right?
Yeah, right. The dude walked into his office, and the guy was like, "Yeah, we gotta put Kelce at 100 yards," and he's like, "No. He's gonna get stone cold stunnered by Jerwin James this weekend. So Jerwin James is gonna come RKO him out of nowhere. So we'll have to move him down a little bit." And then of course that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
100%. What happened? I know we've talked about Xander Horvath a little bit, but I feel like there's been a little bit more fullback buzz in the NFL this year. Like we're seeing more and more teams start utilizing them. Do you think this is the renaissance of the fullback in the NFL? Are things shifting where we're going to see the fullback start taking a more prominent role in these offenses?
No.
Back to you. The thing is, as players from the same, coaches from the same coaching tree keep getting more jobs, that's how this works. It's a copycat league. So when the 49ers have success using Kyle Juszczyk, and then Mike McDaniel goes to the Dolphins and they expect him to use the same offense, there you go. Alex Ingold,
fullback.
Ton of snaps. Yeah. The thing about fullbacks for fantasy football purposes is if a team is using a fullback, you take the wide receiver 3 on that team and just crumple them up and throw them right in the trash. Because anytime a second tight end, like in a normal set, you have 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back, right? Then you have 6 quarterback and linemen. Anytime a extra tight end comes on the field, that 3rd wide receiver comes out. Anytime a fullback comes on the field, the 3rd wide receiver comes out. Because when you bring the fullback on, you're not taking the tight end out. You're not taking the running back out. So that 3rd wide receiver ends up having a smaller and smaller snap share the more of these like weirdo pieces they start using the offense. So anytime I see a fullback, I'm like, Cedric Wilson, dead to me.
Dead. Craig, and you're saying no one ever mentions half fullback. So that's because I'm more of a half empty back kind of guy, Craig. You know, some people live life with half fullback. Some people live life with half empty backs. Tommy wants to know, Coop, who's your favorite fullback of all time?
My favorite fullback. I mean, does Mike Allstock count as a fullback or as a running back? If Mike Allstock counts as, or Christian Okoye count as fullbacks, then I would pick those guys. But to me, they're kind of running backs. If I had to pick somebody who's a pure fullback, I would pick my boy Anthony Sherman. I actually went to high school with him. He was a freak athlete, played for the Chiefs for like 10 years, also played for the Cardinals very beginning of his career. Just a really solid, good dude, and a great fullback. What about you, JL? You got a favorite fullback?
Kyle Juszczyk. It's the only fullback for me.
Yeah, good dude. Alphabet
That
soup.
name.
Still can't quite figure out how to spell it without looking it up.
Yeah.
JL, give it your best go right now without looking.
JUSCYZYCK.
Nailed it. 100% right. That is incredible, JL. Every letter in the right spot. Rewind the tape, but don't tell us that we're wrong. I cannot believe you just spelled that on air.
Thank you.
No questions asked.
Perfect. Yeah, perfectly spelled.
Keith says Daryl Johnston was a favorite of his on the Cowboys teams. Jets fan pulling for it. No Jets fullbacks that you loved over there, Keith. You're abandoning the Jets just immediately as soon as they ask about a fullback. You can't even support them through that.
They had one good fullback. His name was like Trent Richardson, maybe. The Jets fullback. He's pretty nice.
Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Yeah, I was pretty close.
What?
Not that I looked.
Last night,
without looking, can you guys tell me what the deck is?
Ooh, John Riggins. That's a perfect one.
That is not correct.
For the Washington, Kyle John Riggins.
John Riggins.
John Riggins
Kyle
for Washington. That was a good
Edward Juszczyk. I bet it's
Edward. We got an Edward. What do you think, Coop?
I think it's Squidward.
Squidward. Edward and a Squidward. Well, you're both wrong. It's Patrick.
Okay.
Patrick.
Edmund was
close.
kind of close.
Kind of close.
I feel
It
like.
was Squidward.
I was closest, I think. Right?
Yeah,
I had the
I think
SpongeBob,
so.
SpongeBob corollary there.
Yeah.
That is kind of funny that you just named a different SpongeBob character, but like you weren't wrong picking a SpongeBob character in that question. Like it seemed like a ridiculous process, but you ended up getting there anyways.
Pretty smart stuff, really.
You know, that's the deal with fantasy football. It's not about the process, it's about the results. That's what everyone always says, right, guys?
That's what
Exactly
they say.
right. Yeah.
That's what they say.
That's why you start Xander Horvath.
Taysom Hill and OJ Howard. Last night, Ronald Jones was inactive for the second week. Is it time to put to bed any chance Jones has to be part of this Chiefs backfield? Are you dropping Ronald Jones?
Yeah. I dropped him just recently.
Don't need him.
Are you
Get him out of here.
Are you picking up Jerick McKinnon or Isaiah Pacheco if they're still out there sitting on your waiver wire?
Yeah, I wish it was just one of them instead of two. I have where I have them, I'm holding them, but I'm not going on my way to add them, if that makes any sense. Like I'm holding on to Isaiah Pacheco just to see. And I have a really deep league where I have Jerick McKinnon already, but like there's no leagues right now that are deep enough that I don't already have them where I would be like, I gotta go out and get them.
Yeah,
I
think I'm with you.
McKinnon got 4 carries for 12 yards, 2 receptions on 2 targets, 4 receiving yards and a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco got 2 carries for 6 yards.
Yeah. So
I think that's all we have to say about Isaiah Pacheco. I was waiting for more, JL, see if there was a little bit more, but that's it. What else can we say about Isaiah Pacheco last night? That's all we got to say. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks securely like the lead back in that offense. I know he only got 8 carries last night, but that was 4 more than anybody else on this team. And then 4 targets as well. And dude looks decent out there. Know what I mean? Like, I don't remember watching Clyde Edwards-Helaire and feeling like, oh, this dude's a great running back. But there were a couple plays last night where I was like, he was breaking tackles, shedding off defenders, picking up the extra yardage. He was fun to watch.
What was with that super weird long run he had, though, where he was like holding the ball like a guard, like a guard that picked up a fumble, and he just like looking over his shoulder, and then he slid. I was like, what is it?
Yeah,
I'm wondering, you know what I was wondering? I'm wondering if maybe the only explanation is that he thought there was a defensive penalty, or he thought there was an offensive penalty that the defense could decline. So he was just trying to like play it safe and move the ball downfield and not fumble it because he thought it was coming back. And then, like, I don't see any other reason to do what he did. It was pretty absurd. And just real quick, Tommy in the chat said, did a quick Google search. They list Jim Brown and Earl Campbell as fullbacks. Well, in that case, I would say that Jim Brown is the best fullback.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy. Who's the best fullback? Is it the best football player of all time or someone else?
I think I'll go with Jim Brown here. Sorry, Earl Campbell.
Yeah, that one. That's not much of a competition for everybody else there. Maybe we can talk about second place another time for that one. I forget what we were just hitting right there. Jordan in here says CEH greater than JT, just as the prophecy foretold.
Just as the prophecy foretold.
It's not wrong.
Just as the prophecy foretold.
Somewhere in between CEH and JT is Xander Horvath, right? Like ahead of JT, but behind CEH.
Yeah. He's right in that mix right there. Coop, if you lost Dak Prescott, or let's say Justin Herbert doesn't play next week, would you be willing to pick up Jameis Winston going up against Carolina in week 3 to play him? So, like, Justin Herbert was your starting quarterback last night. Are you picking up Jameis Winston in week 3 against Carolina? Do you think that's a good spot start at that QB position?
I've been going through because I have Dak in a few leagues, so I've been going through and doing my ads. And the thing is, the quarterbacks available varies from league to league. In some of my leagues, guys like Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins are there. So I'm grabbing those guys first and foremost. The next tier that I'm kind of deciding between is that group with it's like Tua, and the guys there are like Tua, Wentz, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota. I am actually leaning into Carson Wentz. That's the one that I've been finding myself picking up over.
Ooh, you love Carson Wentz.
Stop. But
Coop and Wentz sitting in a tree.
K-I-S-S-I-N
F-I-N-G-E-R-T-R-A-P-P-I-N-G.
Finger trap, yeah. So I've been finger trapping Carson Wentz in a lot of my leagues. But I like the weapons. I like the fact that they throw it a bunch. I like the fact that both their running backs are converted wide receivers. Everyone knows that Antonio Gibson played wide receiver in college, but
what? I'm just kidding. Every time they say that on the broadcast, it's like shocking information.
Adam Thielen grew up in Minnesota? Like,
no way.
So, but J.D. McKissick was also a wide receiver in college, and he was actually a better wide receiver than Antonio Gibson, believe it or not. Antonio Gibson only had like 40 catches, and J.D. McKissick had like 200. So both those guys can catch the ball. Quarterback can sling it. Got a good tight end, bunch of good wide receivers. So I like Carson Wentz. That's the guy I'm picking up. Jameis Winston, I don't know. Do you like Jameis over Carson? I want to hear your take, JL.
No.
There you have it.
Give me Carson Wentz. I want all the Carson Wentz. Give him to me. Give him. He's playing Detroit Lions.
Give me Jameis. Imagine if what he did in the back half of the fourth quarter, he did for two quarters.
Whole game?
No, JL. Don't get preposterous. We know Jameis can't put that together for an entire game, but maybe a half, maybe like quarter one and quarter three, he's out there just blowing it up. Or maybe by like contractually, one of them has to be quarter four. Like I think Jameis has to have like something on the line, then he goes out there and just tears it up. But to be real, I do like Jameis Winston against Carolina in that matchup. Carson Wentz is a great start. That should be a high-scoring game that Carson Wentz is in as well. At least they're expecting it to be decently high-scoring. I don't mind that pickup. But the one thing you did say is I would put Tua kind of in that next tier up with Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. So if Tua's sitting out there, I like him ahead of all of those guys that you listed in that tier, right after Cousins and Carr probably.
Let me just add, the difference maker between Wentz and Jameis Winston for me is that the Commanders aren't putting another quarterback into the game to score the touchdown.
Yeah. God.
So annoying.
That is
it's so annoying.
I'm so mad.
Oh, you think so, Jay?
Yeah, well,
You think that's bad?
I would put that as a positive for sure.
You think that's bad for fantasy football? Do they put another quarterback in when they get the highest scoring part of the field? They put another dude in there.
It's not ideal, Coop. It's not ideal.
God, just disgusting right there. We had another question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Say, before we move on from this quarterback talk, Albert with a very good point. Mariota plays the Seahawks next week. I did pick up Mariota. I got a league with Jacob Sanderson and Kevin Tompkins where we did pick up Mariota, and we probably are going to play him this week against the Seahawks.
Nice. And you feeling good about it?
Nope.
Feeling decent about it. I'm a fantasy dog saying only Wentz and Winston available. I took Winston twice so far. So fantasy dog on the Winston side over there. I don't blame you. We had another question here. Said, morning, gents. Good morning. PPR pick 2. Rashad Bateman, Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Elijah Moore, James Robinson, and Josh Jacobs. Man, that's a tough one. You've got a lot of players in a similar tier. Jail, so you're locking in Josh Jacobs out of this group?
Yeah. Starting against Arizona.
Start firing off 2-for-1 trades. That's what I would start doing, Eric. 2-for-1s. Just trying to get, like, you have so many good players in that group there. Try and take 2 of them and trade them for one better player. Like, take 3 of those guys and trade them for A.J. Brown, right? But I would start. So I think Josh Jacobs is locked in. I was concerned that was going to be a split backfield. They were going to use Amir Abdullah or Brandon Bolden. Brandon Bolden even got hurt. They didn't do that. It was Josh Jacobs has the role, looking pretty good. I would start Josh Jacobs, and I would start Rashad Bateman or maybe Terry McLaurin.
Give me Terry McLaurin.
Let me check my own rankings.
Terry.
I have Rashad Bateman ahead of. Let me just check with me. I have Rashad Bateman over Terry McLaurin, but I have them very close. I actually have them ranked Rashad Bateman, Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown right back to back. But,
so Josh Jacobs, the Raiders are playing Arizona Cardinals. Terry McLaurin, they're playing the Lions, Washington. Of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing Washington in return. And Rashad Bateman, the Baltimore Ravens, are playing the Miami Dolphins.
And it is so tempting for me to plug in Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I think I'm going Bateman, Josh Jacobs in this game. I think I'm going Bateman, Josh Jacobs, but if you can find a way to fit Amon-Ra St. Brown into your flex, that's probably where I'm going there.
Let me ask the Jordan Loops and the Craigs of the chat, does Xavier Howard shadow? Like, is that going to be a problem for Bateman? Because maybe if that's the case, we pivot to McLaurin.
And Jordan's not saying Bateman in his answer, so maybe that's playing a role in it. Jordan said Jacobs and Terry for him, Josh Jacobs and Terry McLaurin.
Let's go, Jordan.
Didn't really look at the matchup.
Smart man right there. Smart man.
It's coming up. I see some more of your questions. We're going to get to those, and we're playing some hypothetically, where we'll go through ridiculous situations, try to play them out to the extreme, Alex Gold from Cody and Gold on 610 Sports is joining us a little bit later. And then we'll talk through this Sunday's matchups. And Gino Bisconti, comedian at Compound Media, is joining us a little bit later on the show as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
We got to get a team in Honolulu. Like, what about that, Ray? You think Oakland, like nobody's talking about Honolulu for the Oakland A's to move to. How badass would that be to have a Major League Baseball team? Instead, they want to go to like where it's 120 degrees in the desert of Vegas.
Right.
Ray, they should pick up and go to Honolulu. That would be epic right there.
They could go to Honolulu, and instead of playing 12 games against a team throughout the course of the year, you just play a 12-game set. Just get it done.
What's the flight from the Bay Area? 4 hours?
It's depending which direction you're going, it's 5.5.
Okay, that's not terrible. You'd have to manage the schedule a bit.
Right.
But it's doable. Like, you play your West Coast games and then maybe you give an extra day. Like you play in San Francisco through Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then you have your Monday off. Everybody gets their Monday off and then they play, out in Hawaii for 4 games. And they come back for the weekend.
It's very similar time-wise for us in California, in the Bay Area, to go to Hawaii as it is to go to New York. It's very similar. So yeah, like you're saying, Giants do that to go to the Mets. The A's do that to go to the Yankees. They do it, so it would be very similar.
They would be they've already got the baseball background. I mean, they're dominant. The island loves their baseball. And Ray, you could even rebrand the team from the Oakland A's to the Oakland Lays. You can do the Lays, Ray. Look at that.
Good. That's actually, there's no way that would ever happen, but that's pretty good, Kyle. On the fly.
I'm giving away like free marketing right here.
Good work.
Right on the show.
The plan is for them to stay here, but the fans hate them. I don't know if the city likes them. They can't. I mean, it's embarrassing. I don't know. The plan
There's a lot of land in Hawaii. Just think about the views, Ray, of the Pacific. It would put your crap ballpark in San Francisco to shame. Like, everybody thinks that's a good view.
Right.
It'd have like waterfalls and real palm trees and the Pacific Ocean.
People trolling fire in the 7th inning stretch.
They would make the Giants Park look like, the vet in Philly. It would look that awful if they moved to Hawaii.
And then you go to your flip-flops or shorts. They serve Mai Tais. They give Lays away, or the first 5,000 fans, whatever.
Well, everybody in the chat room loves it. Every time I get a compliment, I don't bring it up on the show.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't want to be that guy.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
Takes the shotgun snap. Throws to the end zone looking for Mike Williams. One-handed grab. Touchdown Chargers. Right corner. Mike Williams. 15 yards.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on the Better Sports Network. I didn't mute myself. You muted yourself, you idiot.
Oopsies. That's rare. That's rare for you, Simon. That's more of a Coop and JL move.
It is more of a Coop and JL move. I want to be
Just
more
glad
like
I'm
you
not
guys.
alone.
Know what I mean?
Oh, you're off to a great start.
I'm trying to get better in life, and you guys are my role model, so I'm going to try to be a little bit more like you. So
that checks out.
Shut up.
Sometimes you got to slow down, mute
Dog.
yourself. Say things twice. Say dog a bunch.
Say
Answer intricate questions with one-word answers. Like yes, no.
and you got to answer it like you're 3 years old. No.
Say shut up. Tell everyone to shut up.
Duh.
So back to hosting the show, son.
And Tommy said, "Wow, low bar." Yeah, that
Thomas.
Tommy.
You're in
Timothy.
timeout for being mean to my friends and my role models, Coop and JL.
You better watch yourself, Tommy.
Check yourself, Tom.
Every time there's one of these single off games like Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, the days, the nights of football, right? We've all been there. We've all watched
Sunday,
them.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
My girlfriend's not the biggest
COVID
football
Tuesday
fan.
game.
Yeah, little COVID Tuesday game. That was good. She's not the biggest football fan, but I like whenever she will watch the games with me. So I always, every time, hey, you want to make a bet? like dishes, lawn work, something like you want to make a bet on this game. And I always let her pick first. Like I just let her pick which team she wants to cheer for. She can base it on whatever she wants. I'll take the scraps. I'll take the leftover team after she makes her decision. And then we do a little bet, like you do the dishes, you fold the laundry, you mow the lawn, whatever it's going to be. And you know what? She wins about 80% of the time. And I think she likes football a lot more because of that. She's starting to get into it a little bit.
Are you earnestly trying in these bets?
She's like,
how can I earnestly try?
She's like quietly become like a shark, like a chores shark. She's like a chores bookie. And the thing is, you're not her only client. Like she's got like other people. That like somebody comes by to do like carpentry, and he's like, "God damn Jets."
I'm like, "Hey babe, who's this guy outside trimming the hedges? Like, who's the guy out there?" Oh yeah, that dude, that idiot thought the Broncos were gonna win last week.
It's Blitz. Blitz is out there like doing. He's like, "We won last week."
It's like being a mascot doesn't pay much, turns out.
So on that note, I have to do the lawn work today. I have to go mow the lawn. I had the Chargers last night in that bet. So I was just thinking through my to-do list for today, and I was like, oh, shoot, I lost that bet last night. Forgot about it. I think she fell asleep before the end of the game, though. So I might be able to just say that the Chargers won if I'm sneaky enough right there. It's not going to work. Google exists for everyone. During that break, we had a question come in from Brendan. Said, morning, guys. Thoughts on Chubb and Sutton for Mike Williams and Patterson. So Chubb and Sutton for Mike Williams and Patterson. He gives the rest of his team. If you guys want that context, I will throw it in the chat down there. But Chubbs and Sutton for Mike Williams and Cordero Patterson. JL, are you making that move?
Oh, that's kind of tricky. That's kind of tricky.
Half or full PPR?
That is probably
does not say if it's half or full PPR. We've got the rest of the team. At wide receiver, they've got Kupp, Sutton, Myers, Woods, and McKenzie. At running back, they've got Chubb, Etienne, Henderson, Breece Hall, and J.D. McKissick.
If Nick Chubb's going to be part of the trade, I got to know if it's half or full PPR. Yeah, he's one of those guys, right?
Full PPR.
Full PPR. Ooh.
I was so hoping it'd be half. Yeah, I was so hoping it'd be a half so I could say Sutton Chubb side. Right?
Yeah, makes it tough.
The way I want to break this down is like, okay, it's a clear upgrade from Sutton to Mike Williams and a clear like downgrade from Chubb to Patterson, but I'm not sure in full PPR that it's a clear downgrade from Chubb to Patterson, right? Like I'm not sure we're looking at an upgrade at one position, downgrade at another, but that's taking a bet that what we saw from Cordero Patterson in week 1, what we saw from him through the first like 9-10 weeks of last season is what we're going to get this year. And it's not an offense that I like making that bet on the Atlanta Falcons. I'm probably sitting pat. With Chubb and Sutton. I get it. It could be the wrong move. Patterson could come out here again, be a top 10 running back, but man, just give me Chubb. I feel confident that dude's going to get the carries, get the work, and be good enough.
I think you're right. You have the safer assets. Not to mention with this trade, it's not like you're going to make it today. Like Mike Williams just played, unless the kid wants to do that. But be weird of him to trade for a player or you would be trading for a player that you can't use in your lineup. I think I would stick with Chubb and Sutton.
Stick with Chubb and Sutton. I think I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, I think I would too. Typically, in these types of trades, if I'm having this hard of a time deciding which side I like more or which side is going to be better for my team, I just avoid it. I think it's just a better policy.
Tell the kid that just respond like, oh, well, obviously we can't do it right now because Mike Williams already played. Let's see what happens this weekend. And then maybe, leave it on the board, see what happens. And then snap accept it if Chubb gets hurt.
Yeah, then leaves it up.
I feel like with these trades, these are the ones where like I usually look at it and I think about it for 5 minutes and then I get busy and I have to do something else. And then like 3 hours later, I pull it back up and I'm like, oh, do I do it? Oh, yeah. And then what happens is I'll wake up in the middle of the night at like 2 a.m. and I'm like, got to make that trade. Accept. And then in the morning, it's like, what did I do? Was that the right move? I hate those like middle of the night trade offers that you send out and then they get accepted and you wake up to it being accepted. You're like, oh,
what trade did I send even?
And then sometimes like
you wake up, you're like, my car is in the front yard. And
Fantasy Dog wants to know Patterson versus Wilson this week. That's an easy Patterson for me. I'm going Cordero Patterson.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Jeff Wilson played like the whole game after Elijah Mitchell went down, and they're playing the Seahawks. So I don't know. We kind of yupped that one pretty quickly though Patterson plays the Rams and Wilson plays the Seahawks. I actually think I might start Jeff Wilson. I think I'm retracting my yup. Retracting the yup I said.
I'm retracting nothing. Nothing on me is retractable. I'm going Patterson as well, JL. Nothing retractable over
JL,
here.
are you retracting your yup or are you going to stand?
Nope.
There you go. There's a hard hitting analysis JL's got this morning.
Well, Coop, let's remember how JL's been answering questions as we get into our next game, hypothetically. So, JL, we're going to do our best you impersonations for these and just completely avoid the actual concept of the game, where we're supposed to take it as far as we can. And we're going to just answer yes or no to all of your hypothetical questions.
Perfect. They're Jay's hypothetical questions, so you are bothering me none.
JL's like, I don't care about good radio. I didn't write these questions.
That's very true. All right, we want to get into hypothetically?
Let's do it.
All right, boys. Hypothetically, it's time for our game. Favorite game. Coop's favorite game. The rules of this game. I'm going to propose a hypothetical situation, philosophical question, or just regular question. You guys, you have to answer, and your only job is to overthink the absolute hell out of these questions.
Deal.
Okay.
With that being said, let's get into our first prompt. Simon, you are going first on this one today.
Deal.
All right, Simon, tell me. Would you rather have the powers of Spider-Man, but the webs come out your butt, or you have to shout, tweet as loud as you can every time you tweet?
So I have the powers of Spider-Man, but the webs shoot out of my butt.
Out your butt. Out that tush.
And then what was the other one again? Sorry, I just really was thinking about that one. I didn't.
Yeah, you got really attached. Really, Jay should have ordered these in the with the butt being the end of the the punchline here. But the options are: you can either have powers of Spider-Man, but the webs come out your butt, or you have to shout tweet as loud as you can every single time that you tweet.
You guys don't already do that?
I yell, yes, this one's a winner every time. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, delete.
Like,
No one even likes this. Everyone thinks I'm not funny. I'm going to delete this and then go lay in bed and think about what I've done.
Check to make sure you didn't lose any followers.
You see, one of these is a negative. One of these might be a positive. Know what I mean? Like if I yell tweet every time I send a tweet out, I'm just annoying. Know what I mean? Like I'm annoying every time. If I shoot webs out of my butt, I'm literally a superhero. Know what I mean? But I'm not taking on any of the responsibility. I'm just gonna be like it's gonna be a party trick. It's gonna be an act.
Just be swinging around New York City from your butt.
Exactly. Like there's so many things I could do with that. Now, my big question there is like, I probably need custom pants, right? Unless I want to be walking around Pooh Bear in it all the time. Like if I want to be walking around like butt out all the time, I'm gonna need some sort of
otherwise your pants are just be filled with webs.
Now, let me get in here for some questions before we
it's on Tommy's question down there. He's like, can you control the webs or is it random? Do you just randomly have webs?
Now that's a huge question. I need that answered. Absolutely.
You can control the webs.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Now,
it's not like diarrhea.
Now, are people going to expect me, like, does this come with great responsibility? Like, are people going to expect me to at least attempt to fight crime, or can I just like never use the webs if I don't want to?
No, absolutely. You are expected to fight crime.
So people are going to show up at my house and be like, there's a fire.
Yeah. Or villains will just randomly attack you in the street.
That changes everything, because before I'd be like, okay, well, I'll just keep this in my back pocket in case I ever need it. But, I could go years without using it.
Literally in your back pocket.
But if people are, people are like, but Spider-Man, like, we need you. There's a cat in the tree.
But Spider-Man, where are you?
Dude, now I have a job. Now I have an extra job, dude. Like, I already got a lot going on. You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to do the show if people are gonna be knocking on my door? Like,
it's a good question. You probably have to leave.
Some sort of butt version of the goblin. The butt goblin is like terrorizing the city, and now I need to go.
Villains are also butt themed.
The butt penguin.
I assume that they all would be here.
But that's the wrong.
The butt rhino.
Wrong universe. Wrong universe. Yeah. So I think I'm ready to answer. I don't know about you, Simon, if you have any more questions.
Doc Ock has all 8 arms coming out of his butt.
This is a bad show.
This is really bad.
Pretty rough. I had more questions, Shale, but no, Coop. Here's what you do. I've got a solution to your problem. It's called the Simon College Special. It's what I did in college. So when I left for college, the deal was, if you get less than a 3.0, you're coming home, right? Like you're coming home. Less than a 3.0, you're coming home. So you skirt around that line, and then one semester, just fail every class. fail every single class, and you'll be amazed how happy people are about C's after that. You know what I mean? Like when it's all F's for a semester, then the next semester it's straight C's, you're throwing a party. So what you got to do, Coop, is the first time someone needs your help, just bungle it. Just absolutely
let a
bungle
couple
it.
trains go over the edge of the bridge.
It's not going to go well. And honestly, knowing me, I'm not even going to have to try to bungle it. I'm just going to. I'm not a superhero. I don't know how to control these butt webs right out of the gate. So I'm just going to mess up once, and then no one's ever going to ask me again. They're going to be like, oh yeah.
You're like, oh, don't call that guy.
It's a good party trick, but he's no superhero. Like, let's get the real Spider. Let's get the belly button Spider-Man over here instead of this butt guy.
This butt Spider-Man.
I'm taking butt Spider-Man. I am going to be butt Spider-Man, and I'm wearing a spandex suit.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, dude. I was leaning that way until you said spandex suit. Just not really a vibe that I do, spandex suits. And also, you know, it just sounds exhausting. Like now I have to spend time sandbagging and like and failing missions on purpose so that people aren't asking me to help them so I can do this show. Like I'd rather just yell tweet. I mean, maybe I'll tweet a little less, write some more articles. I'm not gonna tweet any less.
Article.
So Keith is working on a design for the uniform already, and he said it's like a hospital robe where your butt is always sticking out. Yeah, the superhero just running around in a hospital gown.
There are a few times I feel more comfortable than when I'm in a hospital gown.
Yeah, I'll give up the awesome party tricks that would come with the butt web thing. Like, you know, you're playing like beer pong and your buddy bounces.
Oh my god!
And you're just like, you turn your back. You turn your back and they think you're not looking, so they bounce it, and then you're just like butt web. Right? Like obviously that part would be sick.
Or like someone's like, "Hey, can you hit the lights?" And just 1 second.
Yeah, I think that movement, that motion you just did, really locks in the tweeting.
Can you
really locks in the tweet.
Someone asks you to grab their beer for them across the room, and you're like, "Yeah, 1 second." Grab the beer, and it just shoots and then suctions in between the cheeks. Like, here you go.
Yeah, can you give me a?
And they're like,
"Can you give me thanks." Yeah, like all right, sick. All right, yeah, so definitely give me the tweet one for sure.
What about the PJs with the flap? I think you'd have to wear that. I think that'd be mandatory.
Oh yeah, that's
Squirrel Bob asking question: is the web coming out of the booty hole, or is it a different hole?
Next question.
If you got a different hole down there, buddy,
we're ready
Mr. Squirrel Bob.
I think we're ready for the next hypothetically. I think that was it right there.
I don't know about you, but there's only one. All right, let's get on to our next. Let's get on to our next question. All right, Coop, you're going first on this one. Would you rather have a Hall of Fame career as a tight end, but your butt cheeks are permanently clenched, or have a Hall of Fame career as a QB, but you have permanent Manning face?
It's Butt Friday here on the Friday.
Which Manning? We're talking Eli Manning. Like when
I don't know. I'm guessing Eli.
Eli Manning, when he was drafted, he looked like his face said, "Dad, trade me away from the Chargers." And his dad went out and was like, and negotiated that trade, the Phillip Rivers swap. Okay, so I'm a Hall of Fame quarterback with Manning face. So essentially Eli Manning, which is not great. Or I'm a Hall of Fame tight end, but my cheeks are permanently clenched. So basically I'm Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp.
Now, with the thing is, I think like there's with the clenched cheeks, you're gonna run into some situations when you're doing after your 15-minute speech is up. Things are gonna be difficult in the bathroom, are they not, with the clenched cheeks?
That's true.
Also, I see Woolsey in the chat saying Manning face is that one picture of Peyton. It comes right up if you Google it. I'm Googling it. I see Eli, but that very first picture is the one of Peyton Manning in the face mask. You know, the winter, like the classic one where people just post it in every NFL subreddit. It's like a response to your question. Like, oh yeah, check out this chart.
Not just NFL now. I get Manning faced on like the hip hop head subreddit too. I'm like, well, leave me alone, dude.
Have you been Manning faced on the Fountain Pen subreddit yet, Coop?
No, I have yet over there. Sometimes I'll be in those subreddits, and then people will be like I'll answer a question, or I'll like comment on like news, and then somebody will be like, "Should I start Gerald Everett this week?" And I'll be like, "Leave me alone, dude." People have to be like tagged in something.
This is Tumblr.
Or they go through my post history, and then just like whatever I commented on last, they ask me a tight end question. So people are like, I'll have people be like, what is this about? It's like, who's Albert Akwe Buna? But
and
yeah,
what does he have to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I would much rather have the Peyton Manning face with the mask than the Manning face from the draft.
The Eli one.
The Eli one is no good. Is that? I mean, dude, if you type in Manning face, a bunch of horrible faces come up.
The
Horrible.
Eli one's pretty bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Tom, do you have any questions?
Do I have to put in the work to be a Hall of Fame QB or tight end? Like is this under the assumption that like I'm gonna I have the necessary skills, but I have to like put in the time and effort for each of these and do the training regiments and stuff like that?
Yeah, you can assume that you've already been in that process, but yeah, you are.
Okay, so then this is an easy one for me. I don't like lifting weights. I really hate like picking up weights, and quarterbacks. Eli Manning said it on the Manning cast, and Tom Brady said it. They do those band exercises, right? Like everyone else is over there like bench pressing, and Eli Manning's got like a weight resistance band in his arm going like this. I want that workout regimen. I'll take the face. I mean, I already look in the mirror and sometimes think I look like that anyway. So I'll take the quarterback training regimen and just look like Eli Manning the rest of my life. I think that's the move.
I think I got to take the face, but for a different reason than that. I mean, just for me, like, I don't know, dude. Like every time you go to the bathroom, it's going to be like a fax machine. You know what I mean? Like if your butt cheeks are permanently clenched, like that's just going to be such that's just going to be such a weird.
Do not describe it as a fax machine.
Like
that is disgusting.
Like, you know, like
as like a sandwich press on the way out.
As cool of a party trick as that would be, I think I got to go with the face. I mean, like, Eli Manning, he's for having a Manning face himself and being a Hall of Fame quarterback because they didn't call holding on that stupid helmet catch play. Otherwise, he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer. Sorry, G-Man J. But yeah, I think I would go with. I'll be Eli Manning, I guess.
You'll be Eli. All right, Woolsey in here said maybe it should be this Tom Brady / Peyton face match.
What he
and I don't know if you click.
Is it Peyton Tom? Is it Peyton Tom Brady? I have that up on my other monitor right now. It's like I couldn't stop looking at it. I was scrolling through. I swear, I wish you guys could see. My other monitor is just that Peyton branding face.
That's so funny.
I don't know why, but that guy gives off a very specific vibe. Like he's someone you've never met before. You're just sitting in your dorm room freshman year, door open because you know it's a communal hall, and this kid just walks in like, "Hey, you guys playing Call of Duty?" And then you say, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, cool." And he just stands behind you. What about stands behind you for a little bit?
People on YouTube, yeah. G-Man J says, "Cry some more, Coop." It was holding. There was multiple holdings on that. It was a pretty stupid game. But yeah, go to I just posted that picture. Anyone that is on YouTube that didn't see it, I posted it on my Twitter. It's horrifying.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty.
Simon,
awful.
which one? Oh, you said you're taking the arm resistance, the QB bands.
Yeah, like butt clenched, Manning face. It's all the same to me. What does it really matter? Know what I mean? So I'm going to take the career that I think I'd like better, and that's the career of a quarterback.
All right. That is fair. We're going to get into our next prompt here. I see your questions in the YouTube chat. We'll hit those very shortly here. All right, guys. Who's going first on this one, Coop?
I think it's back to Simon.
Simon. All right, Simon. Here's your next prompt. Would you rather have Saquon Barkley's legs but the arms of your 8-year-old self, or Aaron Darnold's arms but the legs of your 8-year-old self?
I was a pretty little guy at 8. Okay, like most of my life, I was a pretty little guy. What grade are you?
Pretty little guy.
When you're 8. So in 8,
you're 3rd grade.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, in the 3rd grade, I'm pretty sure I wrestled in the 50-pound weight class. So I was like sub 50 pounds when I was 8 years old.
Either way, you're getting little arms or little legs.
I was a little boy. Man, what is gonna be more useful? I don't. Tommy, and you're saying he still has arms of the 8-year-old self. How would you know? I wear a jacket every day to hide my 8-year-old arms, Tommy. They're hidden on purpose under here.
Said he hates weights. He's right.
I do hate weights, but you can do body resistance exercise over there.
And do you?
I rock climb. Does that count for something? That's some upper body exercise right there. I'm gonna go. You will just look so preposterous either way. Like you're not gonna look good either way. Here's what we're gonna do. Aaron Donald's arms are so big that they would be cumbersome. I think if I had Aaron Donald's arms and my 8-year-old legs, I wouldn't be able to walk. I think I'd be immobile. Like I truly think Aaron Donald's arms on a body with my like 47-pound 8-year-old legs would just be like a non-working human. I would have to drag myself with my arms everywhere and just maybe get like one of those like dog wheelchairs for your legs. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay. You know what? I fully changing my answer once with that one. Give me the Aaron Donald arms and a dog wheelchair, and that's how I'm doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you would probably blow an ACL with that body composition, no question.
100%.
The thing is, dude, you look like such a tree stump with the legs, with the giant legs and the little arms.
Your little T-Rex arms.
Yeah, I'm saying like, nah. I mean,
how many pull-ups?
You'd probably be an amazing. You'd probably be an amazing punter. What'd you say?
I said, how many pull-ups could you do when you were 8? Maybe that helps the answer.
Probably none. Actually, I don't know. I was pretty small then, so it was a lot less to pull up. Maybe I could have done more. I don't know. I think that I would go for the arms and just wear pants for the rest of my life and just try and hide my little legs.
Why are your pants so baggy?
Just in forever.
Pants in July.
These are my swimming pants, bro. Don't worry about it.
Don't look under the water.
Don't worry about it, dog.
Just
always
avoiding everyone with goggles.
Bro. Yeah, no, and just that's how I'd roll, dude. You got to go with the arms, man. This is America. You can't be having little tiny. You can't be having little tiny 8-year-old boy arms, dude. You just can't.
He said, "This is America." Maybe if we were European, they don't skip leg day over there. We'd go with the legs, but in America, we work out our arms.
Meat Mansion would be disappointed with me if I skipped arm day to go for the legs. So I'll take the arms.
Double arms. Well done.
Agreement. Rare agreement. A rare agreement.
Rare agreement for sure. We got time for one more, you guys?
We got time for one more. Let's hit one more of these.
All right. Last prompt, Coop. This one is for you.
This is serious stuff we need to settle.
All right. Coop, tell me. Would you rather the song Are You Ready for Some Football plays on loop every time you watch football, or Chris Collinsworth says, Now here's a guy, every time you enter a room?
Which isn't John Madden's the one that said now, or no, he's the which one's the now here's a guy? I think that's John Madden, no? Or is Collinsworth?
Is it?
Collinsworth,
I didn't write the prompt.
Collinsworth is awful, dude. He's actually
it's okay. Chris Collinsworth. I googled it.
I was very disappointed with Chris Collinsworth when he bought Pro Football Focus and changed it to like a super expensive subscription. That really was the moment that I decided not to like him. The other one is the football song plays the entire time I watch football every time.
Yep. Every time plays on loop every time you watch football.
Even if I go to say my cousin's high school game.
It's playing. You go to the bar, it's playing. You go to church, it's playing.
You watch European football, it's playing.
It's playing.
Okay.
Canadian football.
You think about football, it's playing.
So pretty much this entire show. And then the other one is Collinsworth constantly. Oh my goodness. Simon, do you have any questions on this one?
No, but I did Google Now Here's a Guy, and apparently it's not the first time I've done so, because there's about 16 YouTube links that are purple that just say Now Here's a Guy, Chris Collinsworth, Now Here's a Guy compilation. I clicked on this must have been a 2 a.m. YouTube hole where I was still not buying that Chris Collinsworth really said that. I had to look up 10 different 16-minute compilations of him doing it in order to convince myself. Why did I watch all of these videos?
My favorite one of those was John Gruden. When he was announcing games, he would always go, I called Bruce Gradkowski last night, and by the end of the broadcast, he had said that he had called 17 different people. He's just up all night on the phone, just calling,
talking to people. Hey, it's John.
I called
How you doing?
Yeah, it's John. Yeah, I got a game tomorrow night. I want to just chat with you about what football. By the end of the broadcast, he clearly had spent 3 hours on the phone talking to different people, just in case they came up on the show.
That's hilarious.
I don't think you did, John.
You know what? I think I know which way I'm going on this one. Are You Ready for Some Football would ruin my football watching experience. Would truly ruin my football watching experience. And I can think of situations where it would be a positive to walk into a room and have Chris Collinsworth announce my entrance. Know what I mean? Even if I'm not a big Collinsworth fan. Exactly. I walk in, now here's a guy, and then everyone looks over, and here I am. It's me. Here's a guy walking into the room. And then the other thing is I pace a lot. Like during the day, like sometimes you look at my Apple Health on my phone and it says I walked 5 miles and I didn't leave my living room. Like I just walk back and forth, or I do leave the living room. Chris Collinsworth is going to get tired of like the entire time I'm pacing back and forth for 40 minutes on the phone. Like now here's a guy. Now here's a now here's a guy. Like as I just
that was kind of a dope. That was kind of a dope remix, dude.
I like. Can we get that playing over? Are you ready for some football? Chris Collins was saying, "Now here's a guy."
I'm taking the. First of all, I like that song. The "Are you ready for some football?" Gets me a little jacked up, and I think I could use that to my advantage, dude. Just like you're walking in, here's a guy thing. Like I would just pull up YouTube clips on my phone, and like anytime I showed up somewhere, I just like play a little football, and then it's like, you know, just out of nowhere, are you ready for some football? Like, dude, I feel like that'd be great for my career as a in this industry to just have that available. You know what I mean? Like people just they think of me, they think of football, dude. Are you ready for some football?
So Coop, here's something you could do now. Instead of pulling up the YouTube video of football on your phone, you could pull up a YouTube video of "Are you ready for some football?" and just play that as you enter a room.
And then it would just be play, and then it would be double playing. That's how you remix that up, dude. So yeah, I think I'm gonna take the "Are you ready for some football?" I think that's strong, and I apologize to G-Man J for attributing that quote to John Madden.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Jail, is that our last prompt for hypothetically?
Last prompt. Well done, fellas. That was fun.
We had a couple questions in here while we were playing that game because apparently this is a fantasy show, not just a butt Spider-Man show. If Dobbins plays, are you starting him or playing it safe and waiting a week? JL, are you starting J.K. Dobbins if he's good to go? Like if he says he's playing, are you plugging him in your lineup?
If we have learned anything from this offseason, it's that J.K. Dobbins believes he's ready to play 100% of the time, all of the time. That man never believes he's not available.
Yep. I mean, he did say that the Lord is on his side. If you say anything bad about him on Twitter, he will find you. So be careful with that. He will find you. Yeah.
Checks, receipts. Mr. Dobbins.
That question boils down 1,000% to replacement level. If I have a J.K. Dobbins-esque player available to me, I'm just going to start that guy. You know what I mean? Like
a Travis Etienne. Would you start Travis Etienne over J.K. Dobbins?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah.
Just because like we've seen many times guys come back and it's not tearing the ACL that you have to worry about. It's these compensation injuries, right? We've seen so many times a guy comes back from a surgically repaired right leg and then he strains his left calf because he hasn't been working out, or you know, the two legs like aren't in sync here. Like we just saw it with Chris Godwin. He comes back from the ACL, tears a hamstring. There's a correlation between those events that's real. So for me, the fact that could happen, the fact that Dobbins could be limited, just give me the guy that I can be sure about. And if Dobbins goes off on my bench, who cares? I'll be happy about it because I have 13 more weeks to start J.K. Dobbins. Like I'm rooting for J.K. Dobbins no matter what. So just play it safe one more week if possible. Now, if we're talking like J.K. Dobbins or Zach Moss, then throw in J.K. Dobbins because who cares? Zach Moss is already playing a partial snap share.
Yeah, I'm with you, Coop. I'm not playing Dobbins if I can help it. The matchup against Miami is not a great one. I think this game could end up being pretty close. I think Baltimore's going to have to throw a lot. And just in general, I don't know how they're going to use J.K. Dobbins. I think they're going to spread down. I think there's going to be a split. And it just seems logical that they wouldn't give Dobbins a full split coming back in his first game if he does play.
Oh, he had such a good point that he got stuck in the middle of it.
Right. I think he ran out of internet. Oh,
he
internet meter.
Oh, he was cheating yesterday. He was doing some streaming in the middle of the day. I know it. He was watching some Rugrats or something and messed up his internet for today.
Somebody get a screen grab of JL's face though right now for us.
I'm probably
send that to me on Twitter.
I'm in full agreement with you, Coop, but I just want to make sure like don't force Dobbins out of your lineup. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying start a Dontrell Hilliard or a Jerick McKinnon. I know he just played, or like one of these replacement level guys that maybe you picked up off the waiver wire over him. But if you've got a Travis Etienne, someone in that tier, I'd be willing to make that move. Albert wanted to know, what about Melvin Gordon over Dobbins? Would you do that, Coop?
So that's probably right at the line, but I would take Melvin Gordon. Kevin Tompkins in the chat, insert 25 more cents for more internet. Somebody get this man some quarters, dude. He is frozen. He's gone. And he's gone. So I think Melvin Gordon's right at the line. It's because that's what I'm talking about, is that like J.K. Dobbins will almost certainly have a partial snap share. So do you start a guy that's locked in with the partial snap share, or do you hope that they waited on Dobbins? They didn't. I mean, there's a world exists where Dobbins could have played 60% of the snaps, but it was the Jets, and they said, why, So I don't know, man. I think I would go Melvin Gordon. He got half the work. He got the first stab at the goal line touches, but if you need that extra, that's about the line right there. If you need that extra juice, then maybe you do go Dobbins. What stinks is that if Melvin Gordon plays at 4:25, Dobbins plays at 1. Sometimes with those 4 o'clock games, you can wait and see. Like if both games are at 4 o'clock, you can wait. Sometimes I like to wait and see if I'm winning or losing, and then pivot to like the crazy upside play if I'm getting crushed at 1. But in this case, you have to make the decision in advance. I would go Melvin Gordon.
So, Albert, our advice is to call the NFL and try to get that game rescheduled to 4 o'clock, and then you can make that decision whenever you need to. Guys, I know it is Friday, and you're all going to miss us until Monday, but good news is you don't have to. All of us are live on game day on Sunday. Coop is live from 9 to 11 a.m. for the Game Day Playbook presented by Fantasy Alarm with our friend Impemba, and then JL and I are live with our friend Joey from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., leading you right up to kickoff on pre-gaming with Front Yard Fantasy. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on the Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
First rule of negotiating, you got to have something to bargain with.
I feel like when it comes to trading in fantasy sports, there's too much emphasis and focus on getting the best player in the deal. It does not work like that. If you could get a player that secures you some depth, fills a hole, then you win. More than one person in a trade can win. But people just obsess, and then bad offers come where it's totally stacked. Like those crappy offers, Ron, where, yeah, you're getting the best player in the deal, but you're offering 5 other fringe players, thinking that combined they make up for that. Who deals with that crap? I see those trades, Ron, and when I'm seeing a 3-for-1, 4-for-1, 4-for-2, you know that you're getting someone's leftovers at this point for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, usually they're trying to give you a bunch of players to make it seem like they're giving you surplus and quantity instead of quality. So got to be careful with that. You could technically lose the deal on paper, but it helps your team improve. And that's always what you're trying to do. Everyone's looking to tell everyone, oh, look what I did. I ripped this guy off. It's about improving your team. If you have two really good quarterbacks, it's hard to trade a quarterback. Now, what I would do is if I somehow made a foolish mistake of drafting 2 quarterbacks in the first 10 rounds, or even the first 7 rounds, which I've seen many people do, and they're 2 good ones, is I look and be like, okay, does the Dak Prescott manager have a backup? Maybe he doesn't. Then I do all I can to trade. Now, you're probably not going to get proper return, because if that guy with Prescott is smart, he'd be like, well, why am I going to trade a receiver or running back? I can just go to the waiver wire, pick up Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, whoever it is. So that's the reason why that's a situation where you might lose the deal, but you're holding on to a guy that you can't really start most weeks. So you might as well make the deal. So you technically might be losing, thinking like, wow, I'm trading a QB1, but it's not doing much good for you on the bench. And if you're like, well, I'm just keeping this guy in case Josh Allen gets hurt, well, you're playing scared, and that's not a way to win.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Coop, I thought you left me all alone there for a second.
I would never. I would never. Just
not like JL, who would leave us all alone. Dude didn't save enough internet for today. Guys, about to join us, we've got Alex Gold from Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio. He's a host on BetQL. We're excited to have him on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here with us today. We're going to talk some Chiefs with our friend Alex. Oh, and there's a lot to talk about from that game last night. Alex, my man, welcome in.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, what a game. I mean, I think we're going to see these type of games for the next decade or so, right? Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. It really doesn't get much better than that. And these guys are going to just go toe-to-toe for a long time.
It doesn't quite hit the same as watching like Jared Goff and Marcus Mariota go head-to-head, right? Like it's a different kind of game watching these two. You feel like you're watching almost a different sport whenever they're under center.
No doubt. I mean, and I think we saw, the gutsiness of Justin Herbert there late with the rib injury, and yet he's still throwing some incredible passes that you shouldn't be able to actually do with that injury. And honestly, even some of these quarterbacks, when they're healthy, the Chiefs were able to figure out a way to get it done. When Mahomes, I think we all recognize that was not his best. I mean, he's very fortunate that there wasn't probably 3 interceptions last night, including maybe a pick 6, but he seems to do just enough, right? I mean, he'll have a bad throw, and then he's able to find Justin Watson for a 41-yard touchdown. And so they made the right plays at the right time, and a huge start, obviously, with the Chargers team that I think when we look at this AFC West, to me, it's the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm feeling that way as well, dude. The Broncos, pretty rough there, though. Of course, they probably would have won that game if they didn't have the 2 goal line fumbles and the odd decision to kick the field goal there. Speaking of odd decisions to kick the field goal, how did you feel about the decision to kick for the Chiefs when they were down at about the 1-inch line or so there? It felt like. Were you in favor of that, or would you have liked to see them let Patty Mahomes work his magic?
No, so I wasn't in favor of it at all. I'm looking at this offensive line that should be one of the better offensive lines in football, certainly in pass protection, but I think overall will still end up being one of the best offensive lines in football. And I was at the game, and I apologize for my voice being a little sore today, but like I'm yelling like you can't get an inch or a yard. Right. You don't think you can get an inch or a yard there in circumstance. Now I'll give Andy Reid credit. We all know what the final score was. They won by 3 points. So you look back, it probably was the right decision. Not that you can predict exactly what's going to happen the rest of the way. But yeah, I still overall, to me, when you have the talent that you have offensively with that offensive line, and honestly, the way the running backs have been performing, I would like to see you go for it. But this is kind of been a story the last year or so that this team has really struggled in short yardage situations. Honestly, their most successful guy in those spots has been their fullback and Michael Burton, who got, I think, 1 carry last night. But that's when they've had the most success. Andy Reid really refuses to go quarterback sneak with Patrick Mahomes after that scare with the knee injury against the Broncos a couple years ago. And they just haven't gone back to it. I think it'll happen again at some point in his career, but they're not going to do it week 2. It's going to be in a playoff game. It's going to be in the Super Bowl or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the offensive line, talk about making strides, man. So I'm a Patriots fan. I got my stuff on here. And like, not only did you steal Joe Thuney from us, but when the Ravens traded you guys Orlando Brown, I was like, why are we helping them? Why are we helping the Chiefs, dude? Another AFC team. I'm like, I understand that Orlando Brown wanted to play left tackle, but it's like, dude, trade him to the Vikings, trade him to any other team. Why are we giving the Chiefs a left tackle, dude? I'm like, we got him on the ropes, man. Like, why are you helping these guys? And then you go and get Creed Humphrey, he's an animal. It's like, what a quick turnaround for that line.
They did. I mean, that we all saw the Bucs Super Bowl, and we know, yes, multiple guys were out, but we saw that offensive line get destroyed, and Mahomes was, running for his life, and it was a quick turnaround. Creed Humphrey, the center, he's a fan favorite here in town. He's been fantastic. He's going to be a 10+ year pro, eventually an All-Pro. I mean, this guy's legit. And then even Trey Smith, the right guard that they've had, who was hurt last night with an ankle injury, he was hobbling around, but he gutted it out and played through. And then, Orlando Brown Jr. is an interesting name here in Kansas City because you're right. They go and trade for him from Baltimore. They needed a left tackle. They didn't like the crop of left tackles at the spot they were going to pick at in the draft. And last year, he got off to a really slow start. I thought he improved as the year went on. We all know this offseason, he was looking for a massive long-term deal. He wanted to be paid like Trent Williams. Well, you're not Trent Williams. And the Chiefs weren't willing to pay him like that. And they said, all right, go out and prove it this year. And last night was the first test for him, Bosa and Khalil Mack. And like there were times, especially early on in that game, where Bosa and Khalil Mack got the better of that Chiefs offensive line, to say the least. It was not a great night overall for for the offensive line. But it's going to be interesting to see as the season goes on if Orlando Brown Jr. Can improve. He still, I think, has a lot of Chiefs fans wondering if he's really the answer long-term at left tackle.
You got to grade on a curve for offensive line whenever Bosa and Mack are lining up
Sure.
on the other side, though, right? You're not going to see a front like that very often this season. You're not going to see two guys staring down your throat like that very often this year. But I agree with you. It wasn't the best performance, but I'm giving a little bit of a pass because of the two guys staring him down on the other side there.
Yeah, I mean, like this division is crazy, right? I mean, with the pass rushers, I mean that's two of the best right there. But then you got, of course, Chandler Jones in this division and Randy Gregory. So this is
Max,
what I think
Max Crosby. Max Crosby opposite
of
of Chandler Jones, right? Like that's it is nuts over there. Just wild.
And when you look at the quarterbacks in this division, I mean, it makes sense, right, that these teams would put such an emphasis on the pass rush with the quarterbacks that they're seeing 2 times a year from the other teams in this division. Like, man, this might be the most fun division in football. Like, this is, there can't be one that's more fun, right? Unless you're just looking for some like scrappy games that you think are more fun to watch from like a weird perspective. But
AFC North games are just like, beating each other up on.
Yeah, you mean you don't like the AFC South where they play each other in week 1 and nobody gets a win? You don't like that football? You don't like that?
Exactly.
120. I want a Matt Ryan tie. That's what I live for. Is Matt Ryan on the Colts ties? That's my bread and butter.
It's a lot of fun.
You're right about the AFC West, though. Like, I mean, the quarterback. We haven't seen 4 quarterbacks in a division like this going into a season. I know Russell Wilson had his issues at times on Monday night and that coaching decision and everything all the way around. But still, Russell Wilson's a top 10 quarterback, I believe. Still, we know Mahomes, Herbert, and Derek Carr takes a lot of crap, but to me, he's still a top 12 quarterback in this league. So it's going to be, I know it sounds cliche, but truly it's going to be a dogfight throughout the season between all these teams.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr threw for 4,800 yards last year. I mean, good QB. We got a question in the chat. I like this question. Get in the game asked, do you think that this year's Chiefs is a better team than last year's Chiefs?
Yeah, so I think the roster on defense, where they lose Tyrann Mathieu and they lose Charvarius Ward, you can look at it and say, man, this is a worse defense. But I actually think roster-wise, it's better. They're younger, yes. Mistakes are going to happen. That was my biggest concern last night, as a matter of fact. But I think if you see the speed and athleticism they did not have in the past, we saw that on display last night. Yes, there were guys open in the flat, but they were able to kind of close the gap there to the sideline with Willie Gay and others. And so I think defensively better roster. Last year in the middle of the year, they had to go trade for Melvin Ingram. Well, this year they already have Carlos Dunlap that they went out as a veteran that, got 8.5 sacks a year ago, already has a sack on the season. Offensively, I'm assuming that's where the individual in the chat is kind of referencing without Tyreek Hill. How does this offense look? And I think we've seen an example of that the first 2 weeks and certainly executed better in week 1 against the Cardinals, but they're going to spread the ball around. Other than Kelsey, Juju, even though last night he didn't have a huge game, those are the only 2 guys I think you can count on getting touches consistently. After that, it might be MVS for 1 week. It might be Sky Moore. It might be McCole Hardman. And right now, the best story offensively, honestly, for them guys has been Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's taken a lot of heat here locally. And he looks as good as he has since that first 3-game stretch his rookie year when everybody was talking rookie of the year, honestly. But he can't stay healthy. But right now he's healthy and he looks fresh. And last night he had his longest run of his career. As a matter of fact, I think it was 51, 52 yards.
Yeah, I was watching him last night and I just kept thinking God, you idiot, Simon. Why did you fade so hard the first round running back on the best offense in football for the entire offseason? What? Because after an injury, he didn't look great. Like that's what I'm scared about because Jerick McKinnon came in and looked good in the playoffs. Like CEH, there was nothing saying that he wasn't going to be the starter this year, right? Like there was the Isaiah Pacheco smoke coming out of camp, like that he looked good, but it never was like, oh, he's going to supplant him as the starter in this offense. I feel like an idiot for missing on Clyde Edwards-Helaire a little bit this year because he did look good out there. Like there were multiple times he broke some tackles, pulled off some long runs that I was like, you know what? I was wrong. I'm feeling a little bit wrong on that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's I think upset a lot of Chiefs fans because they saw Jonathan Taylor get drafted in the same draft class. And I've tried to remind people like, look, I get it. He's not Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's that guy. And the Chiefs, yes, could have drafted Jonathan Taylor. But I think at the same time, he's talked like he's a bust and a complete joke and all this. I think there's got to be a balance in between. And I think we saw last night that if he can stay healthy, he can still have a very nice career in this league. And when they drafted him in the first round, my answer before I even saw him play was, hey, I'm good with drafting the running back at where they did late in the first round. You just got to already tell me you agree that you're not signing him to a new contract. Like, I don't care what he does. And that's kind of my philosophy on running backs in the first round.
Yeah, from what I've seen with CEH, his the biggest improvement I think is that so far through 2 games, the pass blocking. That was kind of, I felt, was a problem for him, was keeping him off the field for those snaps. If he can continue to pass block, I know the first game we graded out very highly. We don't have grades yet for this game, but last night I was keeping an eye on that. If he can do that, he can stay on the field, and that's what fantasy gamers out there, which a lot of our audience is. That's what you want to see, because that is the killer. That's the one sneaky thing. Like, if you're wondering why Philip Lindsay never really took it to the next level, he couldn't figure it out. Had to come off the field. Joe Mixon finally figured it out, and that's how he got to the next level last year. I think CEH this year looks very good in that capacity. And when your quarterback's Patrick Mahomes, you have to be able to trust whoever's in there. So I think I'm feeling good about it. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no doubt on the pass block. I think that's why we see Jerick McKinnon also well-liked by this coaching staff. He's a third down back. They trust him to put his body out there and chip the linebacker, for example. I think also the difference so far has been they're using Clyde in the passing game. We all thought when they drafted him out of LSU, even the general manager for the Chiefs, Brett Veach, said, hey, he reminds us of Brian Westbrook. And we know Brian Westbrook was heavily involved in the passing game. We really have never seen that involvement in the passing game. It's been probably the biggest disappointment on the Clyde front. And here, 2 weeks into the season, we've seen him not only with 2 receiving touchdowns, but we saw it a little bit last night as well. Involved in some screen passes and some dump offs. That's been, honestly, I think the biggest change in terms of his involvement if you're looking up some of the numbers that he might be able to put up this year.
Yeah, Jerick McKinnon, I trust that dude in pass block. I still remember his combines. You remember that it was like a ridiculous combine. He did 32 reps on the bench press, which would be more than any tight end this year. Like, that guy is yoked. He's just another dude who's had problems with injuries as well.
Exactly.
So, you know, they're looking for, and Isaiah Pacheco has flashed a little bit too. So that backfield is starting to look like one of the deeper ones.
Yeah, they got some security there for sure.
Given the wide receiver situation there in Kansas City has been a hot topic all off season for in the fantasy world, you know, trying to decide who is going to be Juju. Is he the guy? Is it going to be MVS? Is he the guy? Is Hardman going to come out and do something? What did you see last night? And I guess just the beginning of the season, how are you feeling about this wide receiver core that they're putting together post Tyreek era?
Right, that was the mystery all off season. I think there's still some mystery with it overall, but you know, I had mentioned, you know, with Juju, to me, him and Travis Kelce are the 2 guys that you can rely on getting targets. And I know that's coming off a game last night where I think he only had like 4 targets or 3 targets, but you know, he led the team in targets in week 1. I think he is the guy that is going to be the more consistent wide receiver and is the true number 1 wide receiver if you take Travis Kelce out of the conversation there. I just don't know if you can trust that McColl's going to be there or MVS going to be there. I mean, an example of that is last night, you know, Justin Watson, who is their 5th wide receiver, who looked really nice in training camp, and he's a special teams guy, but he's the one that came up with the touchdown. He was in because McCole Hardman hurt his ankle, and then that was McCole Hardman's route that Watson ran effectively and got that really key touchdown where that offense seemed like they were kind of dead in the water until that touchdown, and that kind of changed the momentum of the game for that offense. So my concern, even from a betting angle, I talk betting a lot here locally as well, is, you know, if I'm going to do prop bets, I don't feel all that comfortable betting overs on MVS or McCole right now. I don't have a good feel of what they're going to do there and settle in. I mean, even Sky Moore's only getting, you know, 13 snaps or so a game offensively. I think that's going to increase, but you can't rely on that. I'm sure that for some people, maybe they drafted him late in their fantasy football drafts as a flyer, but right now he's not somebody you can trust at all.
No, it's going to be inconsistent. I was high on Juju, and I'm still holding on hope. I think he will establish himself probably as the most targeted wide receiver in this offense. But it may be more inconsistent. And for these Chiefs wide receivers, maybe Patrick Mahomes was telling the truth a little bit at the beginning of the year whenever he said it's going to be a different guy every week. Like, sorry, fantasy guys, it's going to be a different person every week. I saw ROOD in here asking, are you guys really live? No, this is all pre-recorded. Sorry to disappoint you this morning, ROOD. We are not actually live. Get in the game. Tommy had a question for you. And I know this is tough for Tommy. He said earlier, wow, Patriots fan, a Chiefs insider, and a guy with a Broncos hat. Tough watch for me, but have to. Great stuff. But he wants to know, the Chiefs have had some amazing running backs, especially for fantasy. Who's your favorite Chiefs running back of all time?
That's a tough question.
Oh, yeah. That's a great question. I mean, for me, I'm 31, so I don't go back as far as some of the old school guys, but it's Jamal Charles. You know,
Jamal Charles is right on that fringe at least.
Jamal Charles, I'll sound like a Chiefs homer here, but if you look at his stats, and I get it, rings matter, but you look at Terrell Davis, who's a Hall of Famer, and you start taking a look at the stats for Jamal Charles. I know he's not going to get in the Hall of Fame, but check out those stats, guys, and check out those yards per carry and where they rank, and check out overall. I know he had some health issues late, and he wasn't on these Chiefs teams. Could you imagine if he was on these teams with Mahomes, where they're winning a Super Bowl and where they're hosting 4 straight AFC title games? Jamal Charles, to me, has a Hall of Fame resume. I get it. He's not going to get in, but I just think if he had one ring, he'd be Hall of Famer. He would. Some of those, the 3-year, 4-year stretch was ridiculous.
5.4 yards per carry for a career. That's ridiculous, dude. No one's doing
insane.
That. No one's doing that. There's only a handful of guys that are over 5 right now, and
just like Rashad Penny, future Hall of Famer, right? He's like one of the only guys doing it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, think of that list to pick from. Like, Priest Holmes was unbelievable. Yeah. 1 year in fantasy football, he scored like 31 touchdowns or something. They were all rushing touchdowns too.
Thinking of that O-line. I mean, that Priest Holmes offensive back when Priest was running. I mean, talking about Hall of Famers, multiple Hall of Fame.
Will Shields
on that. Shields, Willie Roaf. I mean, Brian Waters was a guy on that O-line that's not a Hall of Famer. He's a Chiefs Hall of Famer. I mean, that offensive line was ridiculous. Willie Roaf, if you would see him around town, the guy could barely walk. But on game day, he looks like the most athletic guy you've ever seen for his size. It's ridiculous, these guys, what they were able to do.
That's the crazy thing. One time I was at the local YMCA, and it was after Kevin Falk retired. So Kevin Falk was playing in the basketball game, and Vince Wilfork was there watching in a pair of Timberland boots and jeans. And at halftime of the game, he's out there shooting around, right? And he shoots one, hits the backboard, hits the rim, comes back. He gathers it up with one step and jumps up and dunks it. And me and my buddies were rolling around on the ground. We were like, what just happened, dude? Like, these guys are, even though they look fat, like, these guys are insanely athletic, dude. So, like, definitely don't be picking any fights with Willie Roaf. And it even goes back deeper. You guys, Christian Okoye, the Nigerian nightmare. Like, the Chiefs really do have a crazy staple of backs going all the way back.
No doubt. And it's been fun to watch some of those backs. It makes you, I think we all could probably do it with our teams, perhaps where we grew up rooting for, that, you wish a certain player was playing with Tom Brady in your case, or again, Jamal with Patrick Mahomes now, or, I'm sure right now you probably wish you had, you had Terrell Davis going with Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? That's what's always fun to look back at.
Tom Brady would be cool to have back.
Yes, I'm sure. Is Mac Jones going to play on Sunday? Is he actually going to play?
We had a beat writer, Jim McBride, was supposed to come on the show yesterday, but his connection, we couldn't get it to work. So we would have had that answer for you, but unfortunately we don't. But the rumors are that he is going to play. He's a tough guy. So, but back injuries are spooky. So I think it's going to be maybe a lot of shotgun, a lot of short passes.
Didn't practice yesterday.
Could be Jacoby Myers Day. I think it's
like ROOD back in here saying he was at the game yesterday and anxious the whole game until that pick six, real momentum changer. Yeah. You were at the game as well last night, right, Alex? That's what you said. You were there. That's why you said your voice was a little hoarse or something. I'm not hearing any of it. If that's your voice hoarse, then I don't even want to know how sexy your voice is.
Like
not voice, Alex. But what did that feel like in the stadium when that pick six was? When that pick six happened? I'm flirting with our guests. Okay, let me shoot my shot. Tell my girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, Arrowhead's a great atmosphere. It's a college-like atmosphere. The stadium is 50 years old. They were celebrating that last night. That's why you kind of saw some of the retro paint scheme there in the end zone. I don't know if anybody caught that. That's not from Kansas City, but it was an incredible atmosphere. I've been spoiled. I've been to some of these AFC title games, so it was, for a regular season atmosphere, it was one of the better ones for a regular season game, no doubt. I mean, you can't match some of these AFC title game crowds, but the building was certainly juiced, and that's kind of what you come to expect, honestly, at Arrowhead in big time games. I mean, I think the only other game this year in a regular season capacity that will come close to that will be the Bills game, just because we all know how the last game went between the Bills and the Chiefs in the 13-second drive. So, no, Arrowhead's a special environment, and I think you saw last night a couple of young guys that stepped up for the Chiefs. That was their first time playing at Arrowhead, and some of their comments after the game, they all, compared it to playing at LSU, for example, or otherwise. And that was also, what was nuts about last night's game, guys, is it wasn't, Juju and Kelsey that stepped up for the Chiefs. No. It was Justin Watson and Jalen Watson and Jerick McKinnon that kind of had the biggest plays of the games. And heck, even the kicker without Harrison Butker was Matt Amendola, who, it was a close field goal, but still, that was a big 3 points. They won by 3.
Got it done. Yeah. I mean, I did see the retro end zone there. I'm wondering, when are they going to bring back the end zone from that commercial? Who the heck are the chefs? Let's get the chefs end zone out there, right?
Yeah.
Now I want to ask. I love whenever we get somebody that was at the game. So obviously the pick six was a big play, but like, are there any other moments you remember that crowd really got the crowd going? Like any moments from the game last night that because there's, for anyone that's never been to a game, it's just a totally different atmosphere when like something happens. It's completely electric. You're giving high fives to strangers you don't even know.
Yeah.
Somebody spills a beer on you, and you're like, "That's cool. I spilled my beer on the guy in front
You
of
love
me
it.
too."
You ask for more.
Like so. Were there any moments like that really you felt you were like, you look around and you're like, this is awesome?
Yeah, other than the Jalen Watson 99-yard interception. When I think Chris Jones, I'm not sure the exact time of the game, but it was, their third down, they were backed up inside their own 2 or 3. And Chris Jones, on the big plays, the big moments, he did make some plays. I know there's frustration early on in the game. He wasn't getting after the quarterback all that effectively, but he gets the sacks. He batted down a couple passes, but that sack to back them up, where it led to that punt that went like 25 yards, 30 yards. I don't know. The Chiefs had the ball at the 30-yard line, 35-yard line, and that was a
great fair catch on that too, right?
Yeah, Sky Moore, the rookie. Yeah, there were a couple nervous moments. You want to talk about holding your breath on a couple of those rookie punt returns where he's taken the fair catch, but that would be it. And I think once that Justin Watson touchdown, though, after Mahomes threw the pick, it gets reversed. And then a play or two later, it's a 41-yard touchdown pass to Justin Watson. That also kind of got the crowd back in the game as well. So there were some key moments, and it was by far not their best performance by any means, but they find a way to win. And, Mahomes only has 3 losses in divisional games, which is nuts. And, one of them is to the LA Chargers, but not last night.
Tim in the chat wants to know, maybe this got the stadium going too, but in a different way. Did y'all already talk about Derwin James sending Kelsey Soul straight through the earth's crust with
That
the
was
WWE
wild.
body
suplex.
slam?
That was something, huh? Like, of course, it looked like a fumble initially, but then, he clearly got slammed out and then the ball popped out. But I don't even want to know what Kelsey's back is feeling like this morning. He's also 32 years old now. They got to watch his health to begin with. But yeah, that was an impressive play. I think it was a combination of Kelsey, was jumping up in the air at the same, it wasn't so he didn't get lifted up necessarily. He was already in the air and then he got slammed down. I don't know if you guys went back and looked at that play. Kelsey, who's usually great after the catch, but he tried to cut it back inside. If he goes outside into the edge, he gets a touchdown easily.
Yeah.
In that moment, he just turned in the wrong direction, but it happens. Usually he's fantastic at that.
For a moment, it looked like he was almost like Scooby-Doo running. Like somehow it looked like he still had traction and was moving forward after Derwin James lifted him in the air. Like it looked bizarre. Like there was enough time for you to think he's not going to body slam him, right? And then he body slammed him. Like it was a long tackle on that play. That was weird right there.
Derwin James that dude's a menace, huh? Like he looked good out there.
Derwin James is ridiculous. Yeah.
Insane. Alex, before we let you go, let's get a Chiefs season prediction from you. What do you think this Chiefs record is going to be? What's the end result at the end of this year? Are you guys celebrating another Super Bowl?
Yeah, so I had them at 11-6, and I said they could get to 12 if they need that final week against the Raiders, the last game of the year, if they don't have to rest their starters. I had them going 2-0, so far it hasn't been a surprise. I have some other losses down the stretch of the season where they have, I think it's like the Rams and Cincinnati in back-to-back weeks or so. I think that's going to be really tricky for them. I haven't won the division, I'll tell you that. I haven't won this division. I have them once again in the AFC title game. It has become kind of this Arrowhead Invitational, as we call it here, 4 straight home AFC title games. Everybody's been spoiled around here. And it's funny, like, you could typically be called a homer for picking teams you cover or the city you reside. But I don't think it's that crazy when we've seen the Chiefs go to 4 straight AFC title games to pick them to go to the Super Bowl. And I have them playing the Packers. We've been waiting for a Rodgers-Mahomes matchup. And there's been COVID reasons. There's been other injuries. Just hasn't happened. I think, and I'm honestly hoping we get the Packers-Chiefs Super Bowl and with the Chiefs winning it. But we'll see what the Packers can do here, hopefully going forward. Obviously, a rough go for them week 1.
Yeah, the Packers fans would be menaces if they're in the Super Bowl.
I'm rooting against, as a Tom Brady fan, I just root against Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, we have a legacy to protect over here, all right?
You're not even worried about protecting it from Patrick Mahomes, though. You're like, yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead over there.
Patrick Mahomes has so much time that we have to worry. Like when he gets to like 4, you know what I mean? And then I'll be like, okay, Pat, why don't you chill out?
Slow it down there.
I think that conversation was put on hold after Brady beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Like that was his chance to catch Brady. We've all been spoiled by the play of Mahomes and obviously what Tom Brady did. But I think even in Kansas City, everybody's realized we can stop the chatter about Mahomes versus Brady after that Super Bowl, just because you're looking at 7 rings. We'll be very fortunate to get to 4 if you're a Chiefs fan with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's 26 years old, so we got plenty of time.
Sure, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
Got plenty of time. Alex, thank you so much for coming on
man,
today.
Alex.
I'm pulling for that Packers Chiefs Super Bowl. That would absolutely be a fun one to watch. Guys, make sure you go follow Alex on Twitter. He's on Twitter at Alex Gold. He must have been on that Twitter game early to get just your name as your username. He's the host of Cody and Gold and That Betting Show on 610 Sports Radio, and he's a sports betting host on the BetQL app. Alex, thank you so much for joining us today, my man. Have a good one.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Go Chiefs.
Appreciate you, Alex.
What a good dude.
Yeah, we should have him on just to read stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Did I get a little weird there? Do you think I scared him away telling him his voice was sexy?
I think you hooked him in.
I think I immediately said, "What are you doing, Simon?"
He blew me up, dude. So much for a wingman. Like we get this awesome, smart, handsome, charming.
You're supposed to just let that stuff go. And I was like, "Hey, Simon, what are you doing?"
Flirting with the guest, okay? And I'm probably going to do it again in a little bit.
Who's the worst wingman? Just walks up and he's like, "Hey, your fly's down right in front of someone."
Don't do that. Yeah, exactly. You walk up. This man's smelly.
Dude, haven't you showered today?
I walk up and like crop dust the whole situation and just be like, this man's smelly.
He's just busted butt.
Try not to do it with our next guest, Coop. Gino Bisconti's coming on a little bit later. Stand-up comedian is going to be on the show with us, and I'm going to try my best to flirt with him. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Sunday's games, talk about what to expect, maybe some prop bets that we like this weekend, and just go over the matchups. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
First rule of negotiating, you got to have something to bargain with.
I feel like when it comes to trading in fantasy sports, there's too much emphasis and focus on getting the best player in the deal. It does not work like that. If you could get a player that secures you some depth, fills a hole, then you win. More than one person in a trade can win. But people just obsess, and then bad offers come where it's totally stacked. Like those crappy offers, Ron, where yeah, you're getting the best player in the deal, but you're offering 5 other fringe players, thinking that combined they make up for that. Who deals with that crap? I see those trades, Ron, and when I'm seeing a 3-for-1, 4-for-1, 4-for-2, you know that you're getting someone's leftovers at this point for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, usually they're trying to give you a bunch of players to make it seem like they're giving you surplus and quantity instead of quality. So got to be careful with that. And, you could technically lose a deal on paper, but it helps your team improve. And that's always what you're trying to do. Everyone's looking to tell everyone, oh, look what I did. I ripped this guy off. It's about improving your team. If you have two really good quarterbacks, it's hard to trade a quarterback. Now, what I would do is if I somehow made a foolish mistake of drafting 2 quarterbacks in the first 10 rounds, or even the first 7 rounds, what I've seen many people do, and they're 2 good ones, is I look and be like, okay, does the Dak Prescott manager have a backup? Maybe he doesn't. Then I do all I can to trade. Now, you're probably not going to get proper return, because if that guy with Prescott is smart, he'd be like, well, why am I going to trade a receiver or running back? I can just go to the waiver wire, pick up Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, whoever it is. So that's the reason why that's a situation where you might lose the deal, but you're holding on to a guy that you can't really start most weeks. So you might as well make the deal. So you technically might be losing, thinking like, wow, I'm trading a QB1, but it's not doing much good for you on the bench. And if you're like, well, I'm just keeping this guy in case Josh Allen gets hurt, well, you're playing scared, and that's not a way to win.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Right side trying to do something on the left side. Picked off at the goal line at the 25.
Cooking
Inject that into
hamburgers
my
in
veins.
Augusta, Georgia. We are back on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
In the game.
Man, he just brought that up like middle of his touchdown play. He had to remind him like, yo, remember when you cooked burgers in the worst city in the United States?
So
like,
good, dude.
this is the best moment of your life. Remember when you lived in the just
Nobody believed
that
in
is
you.
Augusta, Georgia.
Cooking burgers.
Nobody thought you were going to succeed.
What a call, dude. Well, that dude went for it, dude. I love that. I love that.
Oh, that got me hyped.
Right, dude.
Oh man, the other drop that we had earlier in the show, the Mike Williams one. I don't know if you guys looked up, saw that got me cheesing so hard. Like I got goosebumps. So they're like, yeah, with one hand, what a catch, Mike Williams.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there like goosebumps cheesing. I was like, I knew it. I knew he could do it. Like my man, just dirty out there. Every catch he had to, man, I'm going on a Mike Williams rant now. Every catch he had was contested. Every single one. There was a defender all over him. God, that was a man playing a game out there.
Coop's like, shut the heck up.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude. I got a lot of Mike Williams, brother. I actually told a lot of people to start Mike Williams and Gerald Everett, so I got really bailed out by those two. Gerald Everett not looking so cool, but he got some passes. He got some passes, you know. Might have fell asleep on one play that was a pick six to ruin the game, but hey, you know,
ruin the game.
You don't lose fantasy points. I didn't lose any fantasy points for that play, so
there you go.
So you're good. Coop, you had a quick announcement for us before we jump into breaking down these Sunday night games, right?
Yes. I just got a text message from Drew McDonald. You guys know him in the chat as Meat Mansion. He was the person that I was raising money for Pros with Joe's. He had a brain tumor, and I'm happy to report that he just got a report that the brain tumor was 100% removed. So they were able to get all of it. Huge. Smash that fun button for the Meat Mansion. There's one more hurdle to get over. We'll do one more announcement, hopefully a good announcement. They need to get the biopsy back to see if the tumor was cancerous or not. But, you know, he's out. He's recovering. He watched football last night. He's in the chat with us. He was the first person in the chat this morning. I believe he popped in to say Meat Mansion smash to start the show. So smash that fun button for the Meat Mansion. He is he's doing better every day. So
that just made my morning.
Yeah.
I just
made my whole morning.
Coop.
Hell
Absolutely.
yeah.
Shout out, Meat Mansion. So happy for you, man. And we'll be keeping you in our thoughts as you go forward through this process. And Joey said, go F yourself, tumor. Yes, Meat Mansion. Absolutely. That's the energy we got on
throw the Meat Man. I think he's taking a nap now because, you know, he's still recovering. Throw him a follow on Twitter. He's Meat Mansion 69 on Twitter. He'd appreciate the follow. Dude,
no, he's not.
Do you guys want to know why his name
Meat
is
Mansion 69?
Why his name is Meat Mansion?
Absolutely. I've been waiting for you to tell me.
Do you want to know? So
yes.
So I don't want to steal his story, but the story that was told to me is that in college he went to Catholic and he played.
Hey, DC
baby, yeah, he played for he only got robbed once while he was there, not bad. So he played for pretty good. He played for the football team, right? And they lived in a house together, all the football players. And one night, apparently they had like some party where all like the softball players came over. And, you know, a couple of the linemen like hooked up with the softball players. And the next morning when they woke up, like one of the dudes came over and was like, from the team was like, what happened here? He's like looking like a Meat Mansion up in here. So that is why his name is Meat Mansion. Meat Mansion. Yeah. So,
Meat Mansion.
Just a great name. Just an amazing name.
On that note, Craig said, I want you all to know my kids have watched the show during the week this week, and I will have notes for you from the 4 oldest next week. Maybe some Meat Mansion notes. He said the 1-year-old has no discernible notes thus far. So our target audience, 1-year-old children, they love the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. They got no complaints. Nothing they would even change.
It's the Grimace Gang. They're really drawn in that 1-year-old crowd.
Oh, dude. Still got to give this away.
Is the cup back?
Cup, I actually left it in the other room, so I will have to get the cup. I apologize to everyone that was expecting the cup.
Unacceptable.
Now.
I'm starting to think you lost possession of the cup.
No, I have,
and you're just covering for it.
I'm gonna go.
It's 2 days in a row the cup has not been here.
Fine, I'll go get the cup right now.
All the evidence points to the cup.
I'll get the cup will return after break. After
okay,
the next
that's
break.
fair. You don't want anyone to see you're not wearing pants.
Actually, technically, I am wearing pants today.
He said technically.
Technically, yep. So quick ween shot for everybody there. I am
wearing a little ween drop.
Quick wean drop.
No jersey giveaway, but you get a little wean drop.
So pretty good. Pretty good.
Sorry to Craig's kids.
We'll meet you somewhere. Oh, I just forgot about the kids. Not again. Not again. So sorry about that, everybody.
Good morning, Craig and his family.
Yeah, good morning to everybody.
And everybody else in their family.
Back to football, yes, right? Or
back to football.
We had a question from ROO, a Chiefs fan that was in the chat hanging out with us, and Alex. First, he said Chiefs O-line was out that Super Bowl year. Just saying.
It was their O-line. Their O-line was atrocious.
And then he said, anyway, pick 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. So it needs to start 3. 2 of them have got to be wide receivers. Third one could be if we wanted to. Breece Hall, Drake London, Julio Jones, Elijah Moore, Cortland Sutton, Curtis Samuel, and Damian Harris. So those are the names we're looking at. Coop, any names that jump out to you as must-starts from that list?
So I'm starting Cortland Sutton. I think of that group. I like the way he works. I wish, please, if you could try and throw a half PPR or full PPR in there, because it doesn't matter for every player. There are some, like Devontae Adams, it doesn't matter the format, right? Like he's just awesome no matter what. There are some guys that, they get a lot of targets. They have good average depth of targets, all that. But then there's some players where the format does matter. Damian Harris is a very format specific player, right? Okay, so we just got it is full PPR. So I don't know if I love Damian Harris there. I like Elijah Moore. He ran the most routes of any of the Jets wide receivers. They clearly seem to think that he deserves to be on the field more than anyone else over there, which is a big step. We didn't know what that was going to look like. So I do like Elijah Moore. Some people might not. For the third one, I personally think I would go Julio Jones, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, Drake London's going to see Jalen Ramsey, but maybe that's not the scary thing it used to be. After the
Is there no temptation to plug Breece Hall in after those 10 targets last week? Maybe they're ramping him up. Maybe he has an even bigger role in the offense this week. Because I agree with you on Cortland Sutton and Elijah Moore. That decision comes down to me between Julio Jones and Breece Hall in that flex spot. Julio Jones, obviously with Chris Godwin probably continuing to miss time, he should have a bigger role in that offense. And Tom Brady loved targeting him last week. And I feel like we saw some vintage Julio out there on the field. Like he looked good. I'm talking myself into it. I've got the temptation to plug Breece Hall in, but I'm going Sutton more Julio is what I'm doing. I'm with you, Coop.
I will say just be careful with the Breece Hall situation because that was another one of those game script trap games. The Ravens are scoring so quickly that the Jets kept getting the ball back like right away, and they had 84 snaps. Again, the team that led the league in snaps last year was the Ravens with 69 on average. So 84 is a lot more snaps than you usually see. So maybe more targets for guys like Breece Hall than they would have gotten. JL, where are you at on this one?
You guys want to take a guess at the over-under on this Cleveland-New York Jets game?
40.
Jets are playing at Cleveland.
It's like 41.5 or something preposterous, right? Like it's very low.
Coop, you want to take a guess?
I guess 40.5.
40.5. So we got 41 from Simon, 41.5, sorry, from Simon, 40.5 from Coop. It's 39.5. It's lower than
what? Oh my God. Disgusting. Gross. Awful.
Was there weather news or something on that game?
There's always weather news. I mean, it could be good.
It's local on the 8s, bro.
Unless it's in a dome, you dingus.
True. But then there's probably still weather news about people getting to the sea.
One time at an FSGA event, I met a weatherman from Cleveland. He was the man. I'm forgetting his name right now, but I remember texting all my family that lives in Cleveland, like, hey, do you know this guy? And it was like I had met the biggest celebrity in the world. Like, they love their weatherman. They were like, no way, you met the weatherman? Like, I think some cities are like,
that's pretty cool.
They love their weather guy, right? And I think Cleveland's one of those cities that they're all in on the weather. Everyone's tuning in 7:30 a.m., getting that local weather guy telling them it's going to snow again. It's gray and sad and overcast, just like every day in Cleveland.
That's what I heard is that people, 6:30, they check the weather, then they pop over here for the show. So we actually have a whole lot of overlap with that. Yeah.
With the weather crowd.
It's like brushing teeth, right? Yeah. The weather crowd. Yeah. We big weather fans here, obviously us, all that dome talk. That was,
all that dome talk.
Forget that. Forget that.
I'm picking 2 wide receivers, 1 flex in this. I'm going to go Julio Jones, Cortland Sutton, and then I'm going to flex.
Do it.
Do it. I'm going to flex Curtis Samuel.
Whoa!
Let's go! Detroit Lions, give me Curtis Samuel.
Full PPR.
Let's go.
He was the man for full PPR last week. The low ADOT doesn't matter as much. I don't mind it. I don't mind it, JL.
Thank you.
I think you're wrong. I think you're
Did it
stupid.
myself.
But
I was gonna say I do mind it.
I too think
it's
I'm dumb and
preposterous.
stupid.
I think you're wrong and stupid, but I don't mind that. Eric in the chat saying, "Sorry, I'm late. Was checking the weather." I mean, it's
Way late, buddy.
You're in Cleveland.
Way late.
I mean,
2.5 hours late.
Maybe a little too long. You're checking the. He's getting all the way in there. He's checking the barometer.
He's doing his poop pep talk.
Right?
He's trying
He's
to cover it up with the weather. Weather.
At what age when you need to know the weather, instead of just like opening the app on the phone, do you look up the friggin' Doppler radar? Because I feel like every dad, when they check the weather, they're like, "Oh yeah, big storm coming in." They're like tracking the Doppler radar instead of just like seeing on their phone like 2 p.m. it might rain. They're like, "Oh, if this keeps blowing in this way at this rate, we're gonna have storms sometime around 1 to 3 p.m. on Wednesday or Thursday." Like,
I'm already like that, dude. I'm like, when I pull mine up, I'm like, "Oh, dude, looks like there's a wildfire in Utah," and my girlfriend's like, "Okay."
We're in Massachusetts.
Looks like there's a bomb cyclone going Thursday.
Oh, just got alert.
Montana.
El Nino's coming.
You better watch out. Coop's already turning into dad mode, like all the dad qualities. The next thing you know, Coop, we're going to call him and be like, "Yeah, I'm headed to Target later." He's like, "Well, what you're going to want to do is hop on the 410, but usually there's a lot of traffic. So take that second exit instead of the first one, do a turnaround there and drive past the Wingstop and you'll be at Target in no time."
Take a right. Yeah. I'm like giving directions that like only people who lived in town for 30 years know, like that's what my dad does. He's like, "Yeah, go by the, that building that used to be a Benny's before they went out of business." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, all right, Dad. I have a GPS, man. Like, I don't need a history.
Turn
lesson.
left 3 clicks after the Fletcher's gas station."
It used to be a Fletcher's, and then it was a.
What's
I
that?
think it was a Shell for a bit there. I'm like, dude, I have a GPS. Just give me your address.
Just trying to get to McDonald's, please.
Yeah,
I'm always just polite. Like while they're telling me how to get there, I've got my phone out and I'm just typing the address and I'm like, yep, great. Yeah, okay, I'll make sure to take that turn. Oh, there's traffic on that spot. I'll make sure to avoid that. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. ROOD was in the chat saying, stuck between Elijah Moore and Curtis Samuel, and we just made that decision harder. Now he needs a tiebreaker with us. JL,
okay, go Elijah Moore. Go Elijah Moore over Curtis Samuel for sure.
I'm going Elijah Moore. Coop's going Elijah Moore.
Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, ROOD. It was a long list of names, and I completely missed Elijah Moore.
Yeah, checks out.
Yeah,
I think he's just the upside.
Oh man,
he's the upside play. He really is.
He is.
Also, Fantasy Nav's going to be disappointed with that, JL, in here with the yes after you said Curtis Samuel, and now you're just
I'm totally cool starting Curtis Samuel. I think I have these guys in a similar tier. I would go Elijah Moore for upside. And just because Curtis Samuel might not be in the guy this week. There's a shot. There's a chance. There's a chance. He's not the same guy he was last week.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
Yeah. But I'm totally confident starting Curtis Samuel.
We had another question in here. Said, loving the special guests. We love our special guests too. Alex was the man. Says, appreciate any help on this one. PPR pick 3. The wide receivers are Jarvis Landry, Isaiah McKenzie, Amari Cooper, and then running backs are David Montgomery, Kareem Hunt, and Cordarrelle Patterson. They need to start 3 of these players. For me, I feel like 2 of these are locked in as running backs. Like Montgomery and Patterson, I think I'm locking in as these 2 starts. And then that third one is a little bit tough. JL, what are you thinking here?
I'm thinking definitely lock it in Montgomery and Hunt.
Yeah,
so those 2 running backs. Patterson is playing, let's see, Kareem Hunt's playing the Jets. Dave Montgomery's playing Green Bay. Patterson's playing the Rams. Oh, yeah, I'm starting all 3 of these guys.
Kareem Hunt's like a reverse narrative guy, though. You know what I mean? Like he's like a bad game is a Kareem Hunt game. The good games are the Nick Chubb games. So it's
a
little tough.
If the Browns are up on the Jets and they're just able to run the ball with Nick Chubb, that's what they're going to do. They're just going to keep on pounding that ball.
I'll go the 3 running backs with here.
Yeah, you can't start Isaiah McKenzie. He didn't play a full snap share. Played, he's splitting snaps with. He was the guy that was rotating with, Jake Jamison Crowder, Jake Kumaro, fullback Reggie Gilliam, Tommy Sweeney. When one of those guys comes in, somebody's got to come out, and Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs play the whole game. So it's Isaiah McKenzie that comes out. I'm not starting Isaiah McKenzie anywhere. If I'm starting anyone, I'm considering of the wide receivers. I'm considering Jarvis Landry. He looked really good. Full PPR is his format. I might go Landry, Montgomery, Patterson. But if you want to just play it as safe as possible, Montgomery, Hunt, Patterson. thing about running backs is they're guaranteed touches. Like Kareem Hunt is going to, like, he's not going to give you 0 because he's a running back.
Yeah. I think that third one for me is going to be Kareem Hunt as well. I'll just plug all 3 of those guys. And I know what we just said about him, but your wide receiver options aren't inspiring right there. Also, Craig in the chat saying, I start Jamison Crowder in at least 1 league each week out of respect for him. # Crowder crowd. You know what, Craig? I like it.
Crowd.
And Crowder can do it. He can do it any given week. He was on the field, obviously splitting snaps with Isaiah McKenzie at that slot position, but it is the Bills offense. You don't need to play a full snap share to cash in on a touchdown.
Dustin in the chat, D Unit says cloudy with a chance of meat bonks.
It's always cloudy with a chance of meat bonks here.
And Kevin Tompkins said El Nino is Spanish for the Nino. That's true.
I love that the chat is the same spirit of the show.
Yes, they get it. And
they understand.
Getting the games. I don't know how I did it before a phone, GPS, or MapQuest. I agree with that. When one of my favorite jobs ever was delivering pizzas, and I didn't use GPS at all. It was like one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I use GPS.
You know how I did it before a phone, but
yeah, that's fair.
If I'm going to the grocery store, I type it in my GPS. Like even if I've driven there 30 times, I still type it into my GPS. I just like that comfort of like, I want it sitting there looking at me. I don't know. And it tells me how many minutes. Like it's totally a crutch, but no matter where I'm going, I've got that GPS open. I don't drive anywhere without
wasted data.
I'll tell you though, I'm the same way now and the big reason for me is that I live near Gillette Stadium. I live really close. So
traffic
at any given time, you don't know if Celine Dion's going to be there or whatever. Like I'm not that in tune with the schedule. So I got to pull up Waze, which will at least make sure to direct me around the stadium if something weird's going on. Lady Gaga is doing some sort of weird stuff over there. Yeah. So I do got to use it for that.
Also, shout out our boy ROOD with the $2 super chat. Or girl. Yeah, you're right. Dude can be both, right? Or I didn't say dude.
Dude could be both.
But
I got chicks that
had another question for us. So we should answer that one. I feel dumb for asking. Is there any way I can start Carson Wentz over Joe Burrow? Coop,
there is a way you can do it.
But would you do it?
I think there's a way you could do it. If you were crazy, you got to start Joe Burrow, dude. Get him in there. What are you thinking?
Really big balls.
And this is to Simon. Simon made a great point the other day. Like, there's only one player that you're going to feel stupid. If you start Joe Burrow and Carson Wentz does better, you're not going to feel stupid about it. If you start if you start Wentz and Burrow does better, you're going to sit there and be like, why did I do that? Why didn't I just start Joe Burrow? So just start the good player. You know what I mean?
Joe Burrow's playing Dallas. Carson Wentz playing the Detroit Lions. That is a hot matchup for Carson Wentz. You can do it, but I'm not.
You got to remember with Carson Wentz that he was the quarterback on a good team, and that team said, you're not good enough to be our quarterback. And they went out and got Matt Ryan instead, right? Like ate a bunch of money to do that. So as much as Carson Wentz in fantasy, it may be exciting, like that you can't ignore that happened, that the team was like, hey, we're in a perfect position to win, except we don't like the quarterback. It got rid of him. Like, so that's a little dicey.
Yeah. No, and I know he had those interceptions last week, but he still put together a good fantasy game. Like he was still good for your fantasy teams, even with those 4 turnovers, 3 picks. Like it was still a fine fantasy week for Joe Burrow. There's better things ahead, and you drafted him to be your dude. Like, don't bench him for Carson Wentz. Is there a world where Carson Wentz blows up on your bench? Sure. Like 100%, especially in this matchup. But you start your studs, you start your studs. And the good news is, even if T. Higgins is out, they're loaded offensively. You know what I mean? They still got Tyler Boyd. They still got Joe Mixon. They still have Jamar Chase. They still have Samaje Perine. Hayden Hurst, the number 1 tight end in football.
Chris
right,
Evans, Captain America.
Hayden Hurst, yeah, so good, dude. He could honestly, if things go his way, he could even be the 4th target on his team.
But also, shout out Hayden Hurst. He seems like a good dude, and he puts together the potathon every year to raise money for mental health, and I support that. But I'm not starting them.
JL, I heard you shout out Samaje Perine. My buddy drafted Samaje Perine in a dynasty draft, and then immediately changed his name to a name that's to this day he still has it, and it makes me uncomfortable. He has Samaje Perine, and his name is Samaj My PP. And every time I see that, I'm just like, dude, can you please change this?
It's not even clever.
Good. Not even clever, dude. Not even good. But at the same time, because it's so stupid, it does make me chuckle.
Coop, what's your favorite team name you have this season or that you've ever had for fantasy football? Can you think of one that stands out for you?
Let's see.
Can I answer for Coop?
Yeah, you can answer for Coop.
Gingy Whisker Whales.
The Gingy Whisker Whales. JL, we were at liquor pitchers in college. No, we were at Winging It, or what's it called now? Sauced. Now it's called Sauced if you're in downtown Clemson. But we were at Winging It on a Thursday night, and they did like $4 pitchers of like mixed drink is what they did on Thursday nights. We're waiting for a Thursday night game. I think it was against Louisville. And like JL goes up to the bartender and he wants to order a whiskey ginger ale, but looks dead in her eyes and says, "I'll have a gingy whisker whale, please." And she just looked at him like, what are you saying in jail? You have permanently broken my brain. Anytime I go to I have to pause whiskey ginger ale because gingy whisker whale just flows out easier. Like it just makes more sense. The gingy whisker whale.
That's an amazing team name. The gingy whisker whales. Dude, perfect.
Also, Dustin said, "Who said Louisville?" I did. We had some fun games against Louisville in college. And getting the games because we need to open a bar with that name. Yeah, coming next, a Better Sports Network bar called the Whiskey. Oh shoot, now I'm doing it wrong.
I didn't write that time.
The Gingy Whisker Whales. The Gingy Whisker Whales. The
Gingy Whisker Whales.
Coop, did you think of one? Did jail stall long enough for you to think of one?
Yeah, I think he did. I think like my favorite ones are the ones that are just like
GDs.
topical.
Say it.
And back.
two girlies, one cup.
Oh my God, dude,
say it. No. Coop, I know you're gonna.
Coop, say it.
Not saying that, it, dude. I'm completely spacing on team names right now, dude.
Say I like Andrew Luck my balls. Say that. Say it. That was a popular one for a little while there, right?
There's another one I saw recently. There's another one I saw recently. If we're going with offensive ones, one of my buddies changed his. He has Travis.
We're going with offensive ones.
He has Travis Etienne. He changed his name to Ass Etienne.
Yeah, that was on our game show recently.
Simon
came up with the Ass Etienne.
And Tommy and you're saying this could be a whole show. Yeah, us just rattling off horrible team names for 3 hours.
There were some really bad ones on your show the other day. What was the
Russell Sprouts?
The one that we thought it was going to be.
I liked Russell Sprouts.
We thought it was going to be Bateman and Robin, but it was or Bateman and Robin, but it ended up being something way worse.
Bateman it was Bateman Robbins instead of Baskin Robbins or something like that. It was something truly terrible.
Robbins. Dustin said Olave Garden. That's a terrible one.
Yeah, and then Kevin with maybe the worst one, the colostomy TN. Okay, on that note, whenever we come back, we are going to have our friend Gino Visconti, stand-up comedian, joining the show with us to talk some Chargers. And then we'll go over some Sunday games as well, talk some matchups, what we think is going to go down. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Yo, speaking of cards, I got 2 things I want to bring up, and I got them ready for the show today.
Sure.
First of all, I don't know if you ever played this Topps Home Run Challenge game.
No,
like a genius. So I'm in love with Adolis Garcia. So basically what you do is you scratch off the back, right?
Yeah.
And it gives you a code, and you go and you punch it in, and you have to pick the game that he's going to hit a home run in, right?
Okay, I've never heard of that before.
And then if you do that, you get like a special limited edition card, and it's limited to how many people actually picked he would hit a home run that month. Cool. And then you could double down. If he goes over 425 feet, you get like an extra special card.
Yeah.
So I went on eBay, like, because I like Adolis Garcia, like, because all the rest are like big names. I got 6 of them, and I totally forgot to punch them in. So I got I think they're coming up Colorado soon or something.
There you go, right there.
I have a month left to punch in 6 Adolis Garcia home run cards.
There you go. Congratulations.
We can do that live on the show if you'd like.
Sure.
Right. Here's the second one.
Okay.
And I think you're gonna like this. I was at Target, and they had Garbage Pail Kids. And
that's pretty cool.
It was Garbage Pail Kids Bookworms, it's called, and it makes fun of like book stuff. This is one of the greatest cards I've ever got in my life, and I'm trying to probably buy more. You see
nice,
that right there?
That's pretty dope right there.
It's Winnie the Pooper.
Yeah,
and he's pooping on. Look at that.
I like that. That's dope right there. That's clever, Nando. You know,
it's the best card I've ever seen in my life. It's worth $1.50.
I was going to elementary school, right, in the Washington Heights area in New York City. You used to walk down Broadway, and on Broadway and 150th Street, it was a dude you would go in there and he used to sell like, you know what I'm saying? He used to sell the Garbage Pail Kids in the morning before we go to school. So everybody was in that store buying Garbage Pail Kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool right there. Yeah, just get that. I'm up to deal with the Garbage Pail Kids. I think that's pretty cool.
It's Winnie the Pooper.
Yeah, when you see the little poop emojis right there too. That's a cool card, Nando. Yeah,
right. You can get it for like $2.
I like that.
I don't know why. This is my favorite thing in the world right now. I don't even know what to do with it. Like I want to hang it up on my wall or something. Like it's just so. Who comes up with Winnie the Pooh pooping on? Winnie the Pooper.
I like that.
I gotta find something. They even have the balloons the same color as like the actual Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah,
cartoons.
I like it, Nando. That's sweet.
Anyway,
that's
sorry.
clever.
I just wanted to share that with you. I'll never grow up. That's that'll be old man Corey. Wait a minute. Hey, turn your bass down. I'm going through my Winnie the Pooper collection.
Turn that NBA young boy down. I'm trying to do a show over here. What's going on? No respect. All that boogity all loud.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk. Sports talk done better.
First and goal at the 9. Early in the second quarter, McKinnon still in at running back. Juju Smith-Schuster trots in motion. Mahomes will throw it. Looking left, now spins to his right. He is going to pump fake it, trying to get to the outside. Now fires it sidearm, caught, and into the end zone. McKinnon, touchdown! Kansas City on a 9-yard touchdown. Improvisation, and the Chiefs are 7 of 7 in the red zone in 2022.
Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on the Better Sports Network. And after that little commercial, I got a question for you. Oh, the Grimace Cup is back. Grimace Cup is back. Duh. I got a question for you guys. I'm amending a hypothetically from earlier after that commercial right there. So we're going to stick with the Are You Ready for Some Football Plays on loop every time you watch football, or Corey Parsons says boogity, 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 boogity every time you enter a room. Coop, what are you going with?
Jail's muted. Yes. I think
no.
we should make some sort of rule where whoever mutes themselves last is like, so JL's it, and we got to come up with some sort of punishment for that until the next person gets muted, and then they become it, right?
Well, I'll just pull a Coop here. Keith muted me. It was unfair. The whole world's against me. It's nothing is my fault.
That did happen. That did happen though. That's real. So
that's real for me, but not.
So what was the question? Oh, Corey.
We're just replace Chris Collinsworth with Corey Parsons saying boogity, 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 boogity every time you enter a room.
Give me Corey Parson. He's got a much better. Oh wait, versus the other thing. I'll just say Corey Parson much easier to listen to than Chris Collinsworth for sure.
Oh, he's
as much as I hate him and I think his show is stupid, Corey Parson has a very good speaking voice and he sounds great on the microphone.
I'm not sure there's many things. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure there's many things you could put on the other side that I would pick over having Corey Parson narrate every time I entered a room with boogity,
especially
boogity,
with
boogity,
such
boogity.
a good catchphrase. Like, dang, that hits.
You'd make an entrance every single place you went.
Though for me, who the heck is getting a boogity entrance?
My dog would be like, who's saying boogity?
Jail, you said that as if this person is like has seen many boogity entrances, but they just want to know who this one's for. Like, who's getting this one?
Like, well, this one specifically.
Another boogity.
Who's getting this one?
This is new.
Like, it's like when you're at the a restaurant and all of a sudden they start singing happy birthday and you're like, who is it getting that boogity this time?
Yeah, who's getting that happy
special
boogity
day? Is it? Yeah.
Keith has an idea for the punishment. Next person who doesn't unmute has to wear face paint the
whole next show. Listen, I am not waking up earlier than I already do for this show to put on face paint.
Well, here's the deal, Joe. You put it on at night before you go to bed, get it all over your pillow, smear it everywhere, and then do the show with like demented horror face makeup that's just like smeared everywhere.
I got it. Here's what we should do. We should all go out and get those clown noses. And if you mute your mic, you have to wear your clown nose until the next break. Until the next break.
We just got to wait until like Walgreens does that fundraiser again, right? I think that's the only place you can buy clown noses.
I'm just gonna step during the break so you guys can just hear me doing all my biz during break.
I think that'd be smart. I mean, what are you doing during break though? I kind of just hang out and wait for the show to come back on. Why don't you even take breaks? I don't want to listen to Corey.
Let's just go 3 hours straight.
I want to listen to Corey and Nando talk about poop cards. We talk poop on this show, you know?
That's true. You can just get it firsthand.
Dustin said every break you have to add more face paint every single time.
That would get so unwieldy.
Yeah,
Just sitting there the whole show, like
not even not even more like that. Like your face is already fully painted, and you have to add an additional layer
another layer
until you're sitting there like the Tin Man. You can't even move your face.
Oh my god.
Let's talk some football. This Washington Commanders at Detroit Lions game, I feel like we've brought up a lot as a potential game that could be maybe a little bit of a shootout like we saw with these teams in week one. The over-under for this game is set at 48.5 points. The Lions 1.5 point favorites at home. Coop, what are you thinking about this game? How is this game going to play out? Are the Commanders going to come in and upset the Lions at home, or are the Lions pulling out a victory?
I think the Commanders are going to win this one, man. That Lions being favorites doesn't sound right to me. Vegas is usually pretty good at that stuff, but I just think Washington's the better team. And I think that in a vacuum, because of the way Vegas works, where they give 3 points to the home team, I think they think Washington's a better team in the vacuum, right? So for me, I think this is one of the ones, it's hard to pick underdogs to just outright win with the money line, but I think this is a pretty good one for that.
Yeah, if there's going to be one that you're going to do, I would be taking Washington in this bet.
I mean, in a 1.5 point dog on the road, you talked about it, Coop. That's hardly a dog, right? That's hardly a dog. So you can take the money line here, and it's pretty much a pick 'em between these two teams. And it is plus money. But go ahead. I was going to say it's plus money on the money line. Not very much, though. Plus 102 if you want to bet the Commanders right there. It is still plus money, though. JL, what were you saying?
I was going to say the Detroit Lions defense is atrocious. It's very bad. So I think Washington Commanders are going to be able to score in this game.
Yeah, Matt down here in the chat, Better Boss, saying the Detroit O-line versus that Washington D-line is exciting. That's the matchup to watch in this game.
Yeah, I wish we had Chase Young playing, though. That would be different.
When does he come back? Do we know?
I think they put him on the I think they're now saying that they think that Brian Robinson will be back before Chase Young. So Chase Young not that close. He's coming back from torn ACL. So
God, the Brian Robinson news cycle, I feel like, is one of the few ones where it's been like, at first it was terrifying, right? Like you heard that news and you're wondering, like, is he okay? Is he going to be okay? Then is he going to be able to play? But every single piece of news that has come out since then has just been positive, right? Like, I'm not sure there's a player I'm rooting for more to come back than Brian Robinson after that. I'm excited for him to get back on the field. Coop, when he does get back, are you expecting him to steal some of this work to get back? And maybe that preseason hype that we were all buying into is we're going to see it a little bit earlier than we thought?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good story. He looked like he was doing well. I mean, on the depth chart, I'm pretty sure they had him as the starting running back, right?
Yeah.
So they had Antonio Gibson returning kicks. So we'll see if they just put Gibson right back in the doghouse there and he comes out and starts. But I'm stashing him wherever I have an IR spot available for him. Why not, right? It's free money.
Truly epic. You're saying Wentz throws 5 TDs and people start talking. People start talking about the Commanders. Coop, is it the Wentz 5 TD game that makes you think this is what's going on, or just this whole team you think is better?
I mean, I think they're a good team. They got a good offense. It's just, they're missing a couple pieces right now, namely Chase Young, who's a phenomenal player. But the Lions have a good offense too, but their defense is terrible. And I think Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Jared Goff personally. So, that's what I lean into when it comes to these games. I think that if they're similar top heavy type teams, I'm going to lean into the team with the better quarterback.
Joe, who do you think's winning this game? I know Coop said he was taking the Commanders as underdogs. Are you taking the Commanders?
I'm taking Washington Commanders as well. Yeah, I think that they'll pull out a victory. Just think about what this opening schedule for the Commanders, the Jaguars and the Lions. What a nice
Awesome.
2-game opener.
Well, confidence booster, right?
A little confidence boost.
Who do they got after that? Is it a reality check after that? Who's their week
question.
Their week 3 matchup for the Commanders?
Let me pull it up. Their week 3 matchup for the Washington Commanders is Philadelphia Eagles.
So, yeah.
Okay,
1
so
p.m.
that's a
little
tougher
wake
matchup right there.
Yeah, the Chargers kind of have the opposite, where they
That'll
started
be a
out
little tougher.
Chargers started out Raiders Chiefs, but now they get Jaguars Texans. So all you Austin Eckler folks out there, don't panic sell Austin Eckler before you get to use him versus the Jaguars.
Yeah, buckle up.
I would go ahead.
God, I just never understand that. Like this player that I drafted very high, first, second round is disappointing. Should I trade him? No. Never, because this is the lowest their value is going to be. Like, you don't want to trade low on a guy that you drafted in the first round. Like, this isn't a panic trade Austin Eckler situation. Look at the schedule. Look at the games. Don't cash out at the lowest value for a player that you drafted that high.
Yeah, I tweeted that joke tweet out. Why isn't Austin Eckler have 20 touchdowns? And somebody was like, well, who should I be looking to sell him for? And I'm like, hey, my running back only had 9 receptions yesterday. Who should I be looking to trade him for? Like, listen to yourself, dude.
Chill.
Just sit tight. 9 receptions, bro. It's a
full. Listen to yourself, dude.
You picked him and you get yourselves together, right? Like, I want to grab this guy and shake him. Be like, dude, they threw in 9 receptions. Now he plays the Jaguars and Texans. Just keep him, right?
Twitter should add that as a feature, right? Where you can shake a comment and someone just goes and checks their notifications and the comments getting shaken. Like, come on, man.
I use that way too much. By the way, I don't think we shouted out, but ROOD, our friend in here, said, keep up the good work and go Chiefs. Send us $2 super chat. Shout out ROOD.
ROOD. Truly epic. And you had a question for us. Wentz or Tua, who's a better quarterback? JL, who's the better quarterback? Not for fantasy, just who's the better QB? Is it Wentz or is it Tua?
Oh, that's interesting. Better quarterback. I'm going to go with Tua. I think Tua is a better quarterback. I think if you're just looking at NFL career, it'd be hard to make that case. But just in terms of talent, I would make the case for Tua. I think we're going to see it in the next couple of years.
Are you agreeing with JL on this one, or do you think Wentz is a better quarterback than Tua?
I think that right now, Wentz is probably a better passer than Tua, but Tua is still, he's still pretty raw. He's got more long-term upside. I missed
more athletic ability.
I was shaking people down on Twitter, so I missed what the context of the question was. Who's
a better quarterback?
Yeah. I think right now Wentz is because he's right-handed and Tua is left-handed. It looks really weird when Tua throws it. That's what eye test tells me. But I don't know. I think in a vacuum, Wentz probably is currently the more polished player, but I think Tua just has the upside. Tua's still super young. You got to remember that. He's got a lot of football left to play. I think over the course, if I had to bet who is going to have a better career over the course of their career, I'd probably take Tua at this point. Just the unknown upside versus a guy that kind of 2 teams already gave up on him.
Yeah. Tua is young. He's like 11 years old, but once he hits puberty, he should be a little bit better than Carson Wentz, I think.
He's 12.
11-year-old legs.
Yep, 11-year-old legs. Tommy in here said Wentz. Tua is throwing to Waddle and Tyreek. Coop could look doing that. You know what? That's not a bad point. We saw that in college. Taj Boyd looked like a world beater with Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Humphries, and Martavis Bryant on the field. You throw a good receiving core out there, and you can make an average quarterback look incredible. But I still think Tua is a great quarterback. I do think Tua has that accuracy that you look for, and he's got that athletic ability. I'm going Tua here, but Coop, I think you made a great point. Like today, like you plug someone in to start a game for you tomorrow, it might be Wentz, but for an NFL team, it's probably going to be Tua.
I think so.
The New York Jets are going to Cleveland. We talked about this game a little bit. The over-under set at 39.5 points. The Cleveland Browns 6.5-point favorites. We don't need to stick on this one for very long. I think this might be one of the least exciting games of the week. Joe Flacco versus Jacoby Brissett. JL, how do you think this game's going to play out? Are the Browns going to cover this 6.5-point spread?
Nothing happened.
Clown nose. With that clown nose. All right, we need clown noses. I'm expensing those to the
company account.
To the company, yeah.
Well, just expense the key.
Who gave Coop access to the company account?
I've got.
I'm putting on the company card. Yeah.
The company card. Goose already got a company card. Right. Jets, Cleveland Brown. I think be able to cover this spread. Unfortunately, I think the Browns are gonna win this. I don't think by much, though. I don't think the Browns are going to really cover the spread by a lot. I think it'll still be close. I think that 6.5 lines.
Probably pretty good.
I'm staying away
what do
from
you
this
think
game.
here?
For the Browns Jets, I think the Browns crush the Jets. Even with Jacoby Brissett. I mean, it's like they don't even have their starting quarterback. They are lost their both teams don't have their starting quarterbacks, but the Jets lost their left tackle. They lost George Fant, who I don't know if he's going to play again. Like they're missing both their tackles. It's just Jets are kind of in a rough situation, and we saw that this past weekend where the Ravens could kind of do whatever they wanted. The game was easy, and then they just kept giving the ball back to the Jets, and they just kept dumping it down to the running backs as they slowly lost the game. Like I could see,
death by 1,000 cuts.
Exactly. Like I could see maybe they cover this again. It could be one of those games where they only cover the spread because the Browns just like are just running it every time, and they don't run the score up. They just are like, all right, are you done yet? Like that's the kind of game I expect here.
Pick it up, Flacco. Come on.
And I love that producer Keith in the chat saying, I hate that I don't have a mic because he can't come on and defend his Jets, which I'm just obviously going
Listen,
to crush.
we got to get you a mic so that we can roast you to your face.
Yeah, we got to get that capability.
Keith, don't worry, I'll keep this nice and balanced here, Keith. The Jets suck, and the Browns are definitely going to cover this. Just an awful team in the NFL.
39.5 total.
God, this has got to be the most boring game on the slate this week, right? Like this is the one I'm maybe least excited to watch, but there's still fantasy pieces that are in it. Our friend Eric in the chat had a question for us. Said, not sure if I missed your thoughts on Mitchell on waivers to stash in my IR. Please don't shake me, Coop. So without shaking Eric, you've been talking about some good IR stashes. You're putting Mitchell in your IR, right?
Yeah, I am. I think that's a good one. I think if we maybe we'll do a little segment tomorrow. We talk football again? No, we're not. Tomorrow's the one day we're not on this channel. We got to get a Saturday show. Let's just do it every day.
Do it, man.
Let's stream our whole lives, right? But yeah, maybe we should do.
No one wants to see that from me.
Maybe we should do a quick segment, or maybe we can kind of we could talk it out real quick now. Like, how would you rank the IR eligible players? Like
Mitchell,
you could do Mitchell, you could do Dak Prescott, you could do Jameson Williams.
You could do.
Let me pull some up.
Brian Robinson.
You do Brian Robinson.
And Matt down here saying Saturday morning cartoons with FYF. Oh man, if I could get on and we could just like watch cartoons together for a couple hours, that would be awesome. Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Some Fairly Odd Parents.
That show is horrifying, bro. That show is terrifying.
I have a DVD of like the first season, and I never watch it because it scares me.
It's too scary.
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy we can throw on right there. That was another.
That's a good one.
I think
it's Home for Imaginary Kids.
But so the question with the IR stuff also, you got to know. Will you guys shut your mouths with cartoons for 1 second? we could go until the end of the show just rattling off obscure cartoons, right? Like let me get my take in here.
Yeah,
All Real Monsters was All Real Monsters was an underrated show. No, I'm just kidding. I was actually going to talk about football.
That's hilarious.
Angry Beavers, right? Like
Angry Beavers.
But no, so like that. This question also depends
Rocko's
whether
Modern Life.
You turn the page, you wash your hands. You turn the page, you wash your hands, and then you turn the page, and then you wash your hands. Now that one in retrospect was a bad show.
We're just making Eric. We're just making Eric earn the answer to this question right here. Yeah. He has to stick through us just naming cartoons for 10 minutes.
If you think about it, dude, if you think about Rocko's Modern Life too long, you'll realize that the dude Heifer was a cow who loved eating hamburgers. Like that was
that's so messed up.
Legitimate cannibalism on a kid show. But anyway, so anywho,
back to Elijah Mitchell.
So the question really boils down to: can you start? Can you put guys that are just out in your IR spot, or do they have to be on the IR? Because some leagues, like one of my ESPN leagues, they have to be on the IR. Whereas a couple of my Yahoo leagues, if they're just out, I can put them in there. Like if they're out, then the best guy is Keenan Allen, right? Like he's better than all those players, right?
Yeah.
So
if he's on the waivers,
yeah. But I mean,
I think the original question came from Eric saying that Elijah Mitchell was dropped to the waivers.
He was dropped to the waivers. Okay, well in that case,
so here's the original question: on a scale of 1 to 10, how crazy am I to spend fab (in parentheses how much) on Elijah Mitchell, who was just dropped in my 12-team PPR redraft league with 1 IR spot? I have Chubb and CEH.
Yeah, if you have the open IR spot, the problem that I run into with those is that sometimes you have to drop your worst player and then move the guy into the IR spot and then try and scramble to get that player back. So there's also another component to it where now you're risking somebody else coming in and swooping your boy, I don't know, Greg Dortch. I don't know who's your player on
your boy Greg Dortch.
I don't know who's on the end of your roster or whatever. But if it is Greg Dortch, go ahead and do it. You know what I mean?
Boy Dortch.
Greg
Dortch.
It's your boy Greg Dortch.
Your man.
I got
Greg
the
Dortch.
Got the beat from Scott Storch.
Sitting on the porch. Greg Dortch.
EA Sports. It's in the game. So this is a rap show now, cartoon show.
QB.
Butt versions of superheroes.
QB drops back.
I'm stashing Elijah Mitchell.
Got the angry.
How much fab am I spending? I'm spending 60 fab. 60% of my fab budget.
That's that's so much fab.
That might be high. That might be high.
He might not even play. Yeah, he might not.
I think he'll play once he's back. I'm not too concerned. I think he's going to be a late round guy. If you're struggling and you need someone today, I'm not spending that much money.
I would probably just try and sneak him. I'd try and sneak him with like, 8-9%, like $8-9 out of 100. And like, if you get him, you get him. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah,
man. See, I'm going. Yeah, he's still sitting there. So he's still sitting there means people didn't pick him up unless your waivers run on a really weird
how much
schedule.
I would spend. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not spending that much on a Friday. I would spend like 20.
Now here's the deal, kid. You can't go 8-9 because if someone else wants them, they're going to go 10. You know what I mean? Like 10 is a number where people are like, I'll spend 10. You got to go 11 or 12. Like you got to go 11 or 12 because no one's going to plug in. Like everyone tries to plug in those round numbers and you got to go 1 or 2 above them.
You go 8 because your league mates are thinking to themselves, all right, someone's going to go 5. So I got to go 6. But then they think to themselves again, they're like, wait a second. If I'm going 6, somebody else might be thinking 6. So then they go 7. That's
you got to play 6 steps ahead.
That's why you go 8. That's why you got to go 8. Dude.
This is the longest time I've ever spent on one question.
5D chess. Yeah. What were we talking about? Greg Dortch?
I thought we were talking about the Angry Beavers, and somehow we got distracted onto Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
We're going to keep breaking down these Sunday night games for you and answering your questions. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
First rule of negotiating, you got to have something to bargain with.
I feel like when it comes to trading in fantasy sports, there's too much emphasis and focus on getting the best player in the deal. It does not work like that. If you could get a player that secures you some depth, fills a hole, then you win. More than one person in a trade can win. But people just obsess, and then bad offers come where it's totally stacked. Like those crappy offers, Ron, where yeah, you're getting the best player in the deal, but you're offering 5 other fringe players, thinking that combined they make up for that. Who deals with that crap? I see those trades, Ron, and when I'm seeing a 3-for-1, 4-for-1, 4-for-2, you know that you're getting someone's leftovers at this point for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, usually they're trying to give you a bunch of players to make it seem like they're giving you surplus and quantity instead of quality. So, got to be careful with that. And you could technically lose a deal on paper, but it helps your team improve. And that's always what you're trying to do. Everyone's looking to tell everyone, oh, look what I did. I ripped this guy off. It's about improving your team. If you have two really good quarterbacks, it's hard to trade a quarterback. Now, what I would do is if I somehow made a foolish mistake of drafting 2 quarterbacks in the first 10 rounds, or even the first 7 rounds, which I've seen many people do, and they're 2 good ones, is I look and be like, okay, does the Dak Prescott manager have a backup? Maybe he doesn't. Then I do all I can to trade. Now, you're probably not going to get proper return because if that guy with Prescott is smart, he'd be like, well, why am I going to trade a receiver or running back? I can just go to the waiver wire, pick up Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, whoever it is. So that's the reason why that's a situation where you might lose the deal, but you're holding on to a guy that you can't really start most weeks. So you might as well make the deal. So you technically might be losing, thinking like, wow, I'm trading a QB1, but it's not doing much good for you on the bench. And if you're like, well, I'm just keeping this guy in case Josh Allen gets hurt, well, you're playing scared, and that's not a way to win.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. JL rocking the finger guns because it's 9:43 a.m. Eastern time. He always does finger guns at 9:43 a.m. Eastern time. Right, JL?
9:43, you know what that means.
Go back and watch every episode of the show. Going back, I think if you get the full membership, you can go and watch all the episodes. 9:43 exactly. Finger guns every time without fail.
Yeah, and we never
also
lie
on our YouTube.
We never lie. If it does not look like he's doing finger guns, then it's a deep fake of JL that was put in there to prevent them from realizing that JL does finger guns at the same time every day. It was all Keith. Keith is actually a deep fake master over there. Creates them. During the break, we had a question come in from Better Boss. He said, "What happened to Jalen Guyton? What did happen to Jalen Guyton?"
Jalen Guyton was famous. Kevin Tompkins is the one that would curate this. He was in the chat earlier. The all exercise team is what we call it, which are players that would run they would play every snap and run 50 routes a week and then not ever touch the football. And week one, Devonta Smith might have set the all-time record with 98% snap share, 96% of routes run,
zero
receptions. He was all exercise team captain. But Jalen Guyton for the
boring.
Yeah, Jalen Guyton is perennial all-exercise team all-star. So they've been trying to find somebody else for that role. I think Josh Palmer's probably got it at this point. Ian Thomas, another great all-exercise team player. Nobody's playing more and doing less than Ian Thomas, tight end for the Panthers. So.
Because that's the worst part about football, isn't it? The exercise. Whenever I was playing flag football in college, you sprint down the sideline ready to get the ball. You're so excited, while you're running, you don't feel it. But then the ball doesn't get thrown to you, and you got to walk back 30 yards, and you're just like, okay, that was my one play.
Exhausting.
You didn't hit me with the pass, so sorry. We're just running a little slants the rest of the time.
In college, you're like, I'm too drunk for this. That's what
too many Lamaritas.
Too many Lamaritas. I lost too many Lamarita bets this morning.
I don't make Lamarita bets anymore. I can't do it. The next game I wanted to talk about was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. The Buccaneers are 2.5-point favorites on the road. Over under set at 44.5. Coop, how's this game going to play out?
I'm surprised the Bucs aren't bigger faves. A lot of respect for the Saints, it seems. I mean, the Buccaneers coming in the season, right? They were Super Bowl favorites, right? They were one of the top few teams. They came out and they won in week one. Wasn't a problem at all against the Cowboys. I know, Dak got hurt. Some people got hurt, but I mean, kind of weird to see that. I know it's a division game and they're on the road, but you would think that it wouldn't be that close in the eyes of the people that said this team was going to be way better than that team. So
especially after the Saints game last week, playing so close against the Falcons, right? It wasn't like they came out and just showed the world, we're here, we're the bomb. You guys disrespected us. It was a weird week one for the Saints.
Yeah, they did. They came out and they said we're the bomb. It was 2003 that they stole some 2003 language to say we're the bomb here. We're off the hook and we're off the chain, So maybe a little throwback there. But I think the Bucs should win this game. I don't know, man. Dude, what do you think? Is this a trap game? This is the classic trap line, right? Whenever we sit here and say that stuff, Vegas is probably they got something. They know something.
I think it's a trap game. You know what I think this is the double trap game. I think people are going to look at this as a trap game, but the Buccaneers, I think, are just the better team. This is a better football team almost in all phases of the game. I'm not going to get too cute with this one. I think Buccaneers win, and I think Buccaneers cover. I think they're just going to come in and roll.
The double trap.
I'm with you.
I will say this: Marshawn Lattimore has historically been a nightmare for Mike Evans to the point where they fight on the field, and Mike Evans has been thrown out of the game, and both of them get thrown out of the game. This is Marshawn Lattimore is our generation's Cortland Finneran, or was it Cortland? It was Cortland something Finneran or Finnegan. That dude
sounds good.
Would always get into. He would play for the Titans, and he would get in these fights with he would get in these fights with Andre Johnson and just pushing everyone's buttons, which is a great thing to do when you're a cornerback because it gets people out of their game. That's what Marshawn Lattimore does to Mike Evans. So we're going to need to see Cortland Finnegan. Thank you very much, Dustin. Cortland Finnegan. He had hair
Dustin's like a freaking encyclopedia in the chat.
Great. Yeah. He had hair like Bozo the Clown.
Did he have hair on his chin again?
He had hair on his chin again, dude. And he would just come out and there was one fight where both Andre Johnson had his helmet, had Finnegan's helmet in one hand and was throwing punches with his other hand. Like that's what he would do, and that's what Marshall Lattimore does, which you love to see it if you're a Saints fan. You want to see your guy get under their skin.
Yeah, Mike Evans was downgraded yesterday during practice, did not play in Thursday's practice. So there's a chance we don't even see a Mike Evans. We have no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin potentially for this matchup. Does that change how you're feeling, Coop, if it's Julio Jones, Russell Gage as the top 2 receiving options for the Buccaneers?
I mean, I checked my DFS article. I got Cameron Brate as a sneaky play over there too. Cameron Brate's not a bad option. Last year, quietly, Cameron Brate had 9 targets within the 10-yard line, which was 3rd amongst all tight ends, only behind Mark Andrews and Dawson Knox. Brady doesn't
mind.
OJ
Howard, right?
And OJ Howard, mega superstar. But yeah, he doesn't mind going to the guy from Harvard in that area of the red zone. So
yeah, I'm with you on that one. But if Mike Evans isn't playing, that maybe changes this a little bit. But I think I'm still going with the Bucs. JL, are you with us? You think the Bucs are going to win this game?
I'm with you. Everything you said, Simon, I'm on board with. I think the Buccaneers win this game. I think it's a triple trap.
The double trap.
The double trap. And I was just looking at it because I was curious where their odds were to win the Super Bowl. The Bucs are still the 3rd most likely team according to the FanDuel Sportsbook, 3rd best odds. Bills at plus 500, Chiefs at plus 700. Then we got the Bucs at plus 750. Who do you guys think is next at plus 1300?
To win the
Super Bowl?
What were the first 3 again?
Bills, Chiefs, Bucs. Bucs being at plus 750.
Chargers.
Next closest team is at plus 1300. JL guesses Chargers. What's your guess, Coop?
Probably the Ravens.
The Chargers are at plus 1600, as are the Ravens. So there's a couple teams ahead of them, 3 teams ahead of both of those teams.
Rams?
It's the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles at plus 1300 have the 4th best odds to win the Super Bowl, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook.
Probably because they had that impressive victory by 3 points over the Detroit Lions. Commanding victory by the skin of their teeth over
just making a statement
over the team that won the fewest games in the league last year. Wow, the Eagles. Very cool.
Yo, Dustin with the badass fact in the chat. Cortland Finnegan's middle name is Temujin, which I don't know if you get. That is Genghis Khan's real name. Like his birth name is Temujin. So this dude's middle name is literally Genghis Khan's middle name. Like that is about as badass as a middle name can get. Cortland Temujin Finnegan. That's incredible. Yeah.
And Eric in the chat says that Andre Johnson fight was the precise moment I became a Texans fan. And the funny thing is, like Andre Johnson, look up Andre Johnson. Just type Andre Johnson Toys R Us, and you'll find like 10 different pictures of him holding receipts, like from the ceiling to the floor. Like he's like the sweetest dude ever. Goes out and just buys everything in the Toys R Us to give the kids every year. And
3 things at CVS.
Cortland Finnegan turns him into an absolute dude ready to go full MMA on the field. That's what kind of a nuisance Finnegan was, dude.
That's the kind of dude I like, though. Know what I mean? Like he'll stand up for himself, but also he's a sweetheart. Like, know what I mean? Just a sweetheart, but just don't mess with him. You want to be on the Toys R Us end, not on the Finnegan end over there.
Mike Evans, or if he's out, Julio Jones will have to face Brad Marchand Lattimore this weekend, just kind of pushing everybody's buttons and slew footing people.
You think you can handle a DB targeting you, trying to egg you on, Coop?
No, I would definitely cry and I would quit. I'd pull a Mike Wallace and just be like, I'll quit. I'm done.
I'm out of here. What about you, Simon?
He's mean.
I'd chirp back. I get into I'm a very competitive person. And when put in competitive environments, especially one that involve a physicality, I lose connection with like my calm, tempered self a lot of the time. I don't get angry. I'm not a yeller. I'm not going to throw a temper tantrum, but I'll chirp back. I'll get into that game. He could probably egg me on. He could probably get me going.
Glad people in the chat picked up that Brad Marchand comment. The 2 dudes from Clemson never seen a hockey game in their life.
Hockey?
Hey, I've seen
many sports. I've never seen hockey.
The Greenville Swamp Rabbits minor league hockey games from time to time when I was in college. Dollar beer night at the Swamp Rabbits Arena was lit. That was the bomb.
Please tell me you have a swamp
phrase that you liked.
Please tell me that phrase from back then. The bomb was probably a Probably one of the hottest phrases. Now, please tell me you have a Swamp Rabbit hat.
No, I desperately need a Swamp Rabbit hat. I do not have one, though. I do not have one. I had a Greenville Drive hat, the minor league baseball team, but Drive is like probably one of the lamest minor league baseball teams you could have. Like there's
no Savannah Bananas.
There are no Montgomery Biscuits. Look up the Montgomery Biscuits mascot right now if you've never done it. It's literally a biscuit with googly eyes. And then once a year they change to the Montgomery Kimchi, and that logo is incredible as well. They're like the 102 of minor league baseball teams behind the Wisconsin Udder Tuggers.
Number one logo all time though, Santa Cruz Banana Slugs.
The Santa Cruz banana slugs.
We should do a bracket of crazy sports team names.
Let's do it.
Down.
We're in. Keith, make it happen.
Keith.
Do your work.
Keith. Coop.
Come on.
Coop, we talked about one very exciting game. Before we ended, I wanted to talk about another very exciting game, one that I know everyone's excited for. The Patriots at the Steelers. An over-under set at 40.5. The Patriots are 2.5-point favorites. Everyone's going to be tuning into this one over the other games on the docket, like the Dolphins and Ravens. Surely they're going to watch this one. How's this one going to play out?
The over-under is like the second lowest of the entire season. That I'm like, slam that under. Slam that. It's going to be like 10 to 7. Like, Mitch Trubisky versus Mac Jones with a bad back. That sounds awesome. That sounds like a great game.
I don't even know which side I'm taking in this. I guess the Patriots.
I might not even put that on the other TV. I'm going to need at least 3 TVs. No.
Point spread? You don't think they do? You think
I don't
this
know.
is a close one?
I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be scrappy and sloppy with a lot of running, I imagine, but we'll see. The thing is, the Patriots are very good versus the tight end. Historically, they've been one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league. And a lot of those pieces are still with the team. So be careful with Pat Freiermuth. That's my advice for this game. From a fantasy perspective, beyond that, probably not starting a whole lot of Patriots. Or I guess you start Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris if you have them. But,
start Najee.
Anyone else you like from this game, fantasy-wise?
If you can plug in
I think you can start
Kobe Myers maybe, potentially, but I'm not excited about starting any of the receiving options for New England. What about Hunter Henry? Did you already say him? Did I miss you to drop that name?
The Hen Dog. Yeah, I mean, maybe in a standard league or half PPR and full PPR. I mean, his behind the scenes usage was actually great. Like, he played a ton of snaps. He lined up a wide receiver a ton. It's just they didn't throw enough. And with a hurt quarterback, I don't know how much they're going to throw again. So it's kind of a risky start. I'm not dropping him, but I'm not starting him if I can avoid it.
Aiden in here saying good morning. What's up, Aiden? Good morning.
Good morning, Aiden.
Thanks for joining us over here bright and early. I guess it's not that bright and early anymore, right? I assume the entire time we're on the show that it's 5 a.m. Like, just the entire time it's 5 a.m. And then whenever the show ends, it immediately turns to 9 a.m.
To the afternoon.
Yes.
Right away. That's how it works. So Coop, are you actually taking the under on this 40.5-point total for the Steelers and the Patriots?
I actually would. As crazy as that sounds, sometimes I feel like they're not bold enough to go low enough on these games. Like, sometimes the over-unders I feel like should be set at like 30, but they never really do that. It's, in this particular one, I would not be surprised if it was under.
Which Patriots pass catcher? So let's take the running backs out of this. Which Patriots pass catcher do you think is the most likely to be an anytime touchdown scorer in this game, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook?
Hunter Henry.
Dale, you got a guess?
Damian Harris.
Well, he's not a pass catcher, and I said exclude the running back. So
shut
Coop is going to win that one. It is Hunter Henry. Coop at plus 260, but Damian Harris is at plus 160 to be an anytime touchdown scorer. So you weren't wrong that he's up in there. Aiden had a question for us real quick before the end. Would you start Elijah Moore, James Robinson, or Julio Jones? Coop.
Elijah Moore.
Real quick. Elijah Moore, JL?
Elijah Moore.
Well, and I'm going to go. I'm just kidding. It's Elijah Moore for me as well. Yeah. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. Get hyped for Sunday football and get hyped for Moose and Keith right after this. If you want to hang out with us some more this weekend, though, Coop's going to be live from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on the Better Sports Network. JL and I will be live from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. for pre-gaming with Front Yard Fantasy with our friend Joey. So come hang out with us then. And right after this, you have Moose and Keith coming up. So make sure you're sticking around here on Better Sports Network. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Enjoy your football. Let's go. Greg Dortch, my man.
Like a hot
torch.
He's not
Meat Mansion. Let's go.